All right.
All right.
How you guys feel?
I mean, I feel good.
Ready, baby.
Hell yeah.
I'm ready. My only concern is I might come in too hot. Other than that, I'm ready.
we can ease into her.
No, for your guys' feelings, not for the pod. Oh, okay, great. Perfect.
We're big boys.
Great, perfect.
Welcome to the Trash Cats Trashcast. I'm Richard.
I'm Steven, and today we have a guest. Thanks for joining us, Nathan.
I'm Nathan.
I met Nathan through work this summer, I guess. Out slanging them smoothies, and he came up and said he had a gripe with our podcast. So we brought him in to share his thoughts, share his notes.
Oh yeah. So just to frame the episode a bit with some context, a couple weeks back, Ricky told me he had a friend who recently started listening to the podcast and wanted to come discuss some of the topics we cover and hash out some ideas. He was kind enough to share some notes, and he's taken on a handful of categories, and we have decided to hone in on a couple of them. Might hop around a bit. I have a feeling we may end up agreeing on a lot of stuff, but I think we're all down to approach the conversation as a bit of an internal critique and see where it takes us. So the 4 topics you prepared for with questions were politics, religion, philosophy, and math/science/economics. I think we are leaning towards focusing on a couple that we collectively felt the most interested in. Do you want to start off with religion or philosophy first? And once we start, I think it makes sense to turn over the mic to Nathan to kick off his lines of inquiry and see what we agree or disagree on. What do you guys think?
Beautiful.
Sounds good to me.
Cool. Let's do it.
All right.
Kick us off, Nathan.
Yeah, I think we get into a little bit of a lighthearted subject, and let's do religion first. All
right.
I think religion will be a quick one. I have one critique and one critique only.
Okay.
I don't think you guys are mean enough to religion. I think I'm meaner, and I think we'll talk about why. But right off rip, what do you guys think?
Ooh, I doubt it. But Ricky, you go first.
I think definitely earlier on, I feel like I was more sheltered about like what I wanted to come out and say on a podcast about religion and how I feel about religious people. I feel more open about it now. But I also feel like we've talked about it kind of ad nauseum to a certain degree, where we may not be as brutal in some of the more recent episodes you've listened to.
Well, I'll jump in. It's kind of a trick question.
Yeah.
I think you're too mean to religious people and not mean enough to religion, and it does a disservice to getting rid of religion on the planet. You know what I mean?
That's fair. Well,
I think you guys are coming at it with too blunt of a knife.
I guess I would ask them, like, what is religion without people?
Well, it's funny you say knife, because if I had arms long enough, I would stab the Pope to death. And if my dick was long enough, I'd rape Muhammad. I do get what you mean on
yeah.
Not...
Well, here's where I'll get into. So I think the Pope, evil. He can die, for sure. Right. My mother-in-law, nicest person ever, doesn't talk about her religion with anyone. She's a devout Christian. She is... In every other... Like, if you met her, you'd never know she was a Christian. Super nice, super kind, amazing lady. Has some real entrenched religious beliefs, but they're very, like, juvenile. You know what I mean? Like, she's not an apologist. Sure. She doesn't know any of, like, the arguments for why God's real.
That's
she's
how
just
my
gone to
parents
church her whole life.
Too.
Yeah. And so, she won't talk about it with us. With us. You know, that's how, she truly, like, it's just for her. Same. And so, if she is the same as the Pope, like, we're totally off base here. You know what I mean? We're totally wrong.
Sure, yeah.
And so, like, though religion is the... You don't agree? Okay. So why is my mother-in-law as harmful to the world as the Pope?
It's not.
We're going to get into it right away, baby.
It's not as harmful. It's degrees, for sure. I don't put the same...
Oh, so we do agree.
But it sounds... Maybe. It depends on how much of a pass you want to give people for their beliefs, I guess.
Oh, 100%, 100%. I'm with you. Here's where I think my real gripe comes in. If you guys are going to come at religion with a baseball bat instead of a scalpel, you're just going to make religion more powerful. You're just going to make asses of yourselves. You're going to do a disservice to everyone who's trying to end religion for good, like me.
I disagree.
And I think you're just not being smart enough about it. You know what I mean? Like, who handles extremism better than religious groups? They fucking thrive on it. Christians literally wear a torture device around their neck to talk about how harsh the world is to them. So if you want to be harsher, that's just gonna it's gonna make everything they think more validated. They're gonna be ready for it with twice as much extremism as you came at it with. I think the real thing to do is to come at it like calmly and rationally and expose religion for the fraud that it is, and then go outside of the realm of religion and see why so many people are religious, which is often socioeconomical or, cultural, but it's not because God is real. Right. And so if we're just going to lump all those ideas together and bash them in with a baseball bat, you're just going to spawn, like a hydra, much more religious people that are much more fervent and much less willing to engage in this stuff.
I disagree.
I think there's definitely an issue with when you start talking about attacking it with a reasoned and logical approach. The idea of the problem is that if they're so devout in their beliefs that they're not interested in listening to reason and logic. They're not concerned with, they're not swayed by those conditions. And if they are, then I would argue that they weren't that religious to begin with.
I would just say you guys are bad at reason and logic.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Let's broaden it. When there's an issue like human rights stuff, like people fighting for their freedom, of course, pacifism and these more moderate logical approaches tend to be the most effective. But I feel like it's silly to rule out extremist responses too. Often these things are hand in hand. The logical, kind, compassionate approach certainly has its place, but it's not my place. It's not how I honestly feel. And I also feel the extremist nature is also needed to combat some of these things.
Yeah, I think this is where we should get specific and not paint with a broad brush. So when you're talking to my mother-in-law, we should be kind because she's a kind person, and probably, and I've had this conversation with her. You're going to get to the point where she's like, listen, I don't really care if it's true or not. It works for me. Yeah. And I have to go, great. I don't think that's a smart thing to think, but you're a person who has autonomy. And if you're going to come out and say I don't have physical proof for this thing, but I like it, I'm going to go, great. That's where we disagree. Now it's on me to make sure the rest of these ideas don't touch society, right? So maybe we say if this person wants to and knows they're believing something they can't prove, I think you just have to let them do that because they're an adult, but maybe don't let them legislate that. You know what I mean? Be in legislation, we need proof. Yeah. And now these benign ideas that have no proof kind of don't matter. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think we're definitely on record too of the idea.
I believe in freedom. We want people to be able to make their own choices. The question at play is how much compassion do we show them, right? How child gloves do we teach or do we treat people that believe in stupid as fuck shit? And I think it depends on the person, our relationships, what's at stake, and what's most convincing. But also, I think as a broad stroke, I think people are far too kind to these people.
See, I think this is where you got to get real Game of Thrones about it. If you want your enemy to know that you're their enemy and combat you, you just come out with, you come out swinging, you come out violent, and they're going to get defensive. If you want to be really mean, really devious, you come at them as a friend, and you don't let them know that you're trying to destroy the thing that they're doing until it's too late. You know what I mean? And so if you're going to come at religion harshly, you're just going to get a harsh response, and then you guys are going to end up in a war. If you want to eradicate religion, which I do, you have to be friendly to these everyday people. Now, again,
depends on what your goal is.
Whatever. But a regular average Joe that's a Christian, and then they're doing nothing else wrong, they just work their desk job, they're a good father, whatever. If that person needs scorn, I'm madder at you because you're going to be further away from convincing this person not to be Christian than I am. And you're actually working cross purposes with me, the person trying to eradicate religion.
I feel like we could be at cross purposes depending on what our goal is. But real quick, Ricky, I cut you off. Do you want to finish your thought? Sorry.
What I was going to earlier was that we have talked about the difference between, especially in regards to religion, the difference between an individual and a group.
Great.
There's a difference between one person being like having beliefs, doing their thing. Like there is definitely trouble in that when they go to vote and they, but when they start to gather more people to push their beliefs onto other people, that's when it really becomes more of a problem.
100%.
The idea of like, give everyone you meet a general courtesy. I think that should kind of go without saying. Like if they trespass upon you, then return it as much as you feel necessary. But the idea of I think sure, start with kindness, but I think there's a definitely a degree of severity that should be taken with like I don't need to live in a space where that's not the right way to say that. I don't feel the need to give the space for someone else to push something that I feel is more than stupid. I think it's dangerous.
I agree.
So I think in shutting that down as quickly as possible seems in most regards on a person that like individual, like the amount that you talk with someone out in public, that seems like the best rational response.
Well, I agree. I think the problem is you're not shutting it down by being super hostile to everyone that's religious. You're just giving them what they want, and you're making more religion.
Hold on.
You know what I mean?
Let me...
Go ahead.
I do understand what you're saying, and I think for a lot of things, even a lot of like politics stuff, I probably agree. And I don't want to speak for Ricky here, because I feel like we are pretty aligned, but I think how I feel about it's probably a bit more passionate. What you said earlier about it depends on what your goal is of convincing, or do you want war? My goal is not to convince people. That is not my goal. I want to punish these people. I want war. Like,
wow.
It is fun. Like,
why do you give religion that much power over you?
It's not power over me. It's power over the rest of the world. It has
why
no
do you want
power.
Power over the rest of the world?
Wait, what? Sorry, say again.
So you want power over the rest of the world?
No.
Has power? I understand.
It has power. Yeah.
Sure. Again, I think that's where I think probably like when it comes to the organization of the Catholic Church, right? Like that organization should be dismantled for sure.
Sure.
Every individual Catholic who just goes to church,
I want them punished.
Well, I don't even think they could tell you all the tenets of the Catholic Church. That's what I'm saying.
Agreed.
Like, this is like punishing a random Palestinian for Hamas's actions.
They're
not
it's
Hamas.
Not. No, it's not.
It's not. I don't agree with that.
Wow. Oh, wait. Are you guys not pro-Palestine?
That's a different question, but...
Yeah, that's a fully different question.
But I don't think the comparison is valid.
Wait. Are you guys pro-Palestine? We're going on a tangent.
Yes.
We'll come back.
I'm not really. I'm fucking both. But Israel is genociding right now, so...
Sure. Okay, but so here, again, I've been part of a lot of church groups. We can get into my past if you want. But I would say, like, the leader of a big church... like there's a huge church out in our area called Woodside. They're like the big mega church.
Sure.
There's a ton of them. They span they're huge. They're all over Michigan. Okay. That leader, like that guy is he is ruling over an empire.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. So there is not a single person that goes to any of his churches on a casual basis that agrees with him on what he's trying to do, right? They all think they're going to like a nice church. He is trying to amass a ton of wealth and successfully doing it.
Well, by going, they are agreeing with him. I'm not going to give them no responsibility. No, because he doesn't say...
Yeah, so, like, all of his churches are very open with, like, the wealth that they're giving back to the community. And there's, like, all these lines, right? Sure. And so, for every step of the way, these people don't have to reckon with what's going on with this organization. And so, yes, I think if you give any one of these people a chance to see it for what it is, and then they still want to do it, that person should be punished. But I would say, as a person who's very familiar with this group and been to several of their locations, they just don't know what the church really is doing. And so to punish them for something they don't know they're taking part in feels like a waste of time for me.
I disagree.
I might be an outlier in this because I wasn't raised religious.
Yeah.
And I had been to church several times. Like, I slept over at my cousin's house. Like,
Sure.
we're going to church on Sunday.
Yeah.
And like those were my experiences. Like, I don't have the same backup to be able to say like, but I do feel like there's a certain age where like you stop believing in Santa Claus. You stop believing in things that just seem outlandish. You can see from comparison by the world around you of like, hey, there's a lot of things that are contradictory to what I believe this to be.
Yeah.
And you can kind of make those decisions yourself, and you should be able to as an adult. So there comes a point where I can't really give. I mean, it's like with the MAGA stuff where like I used to feel sorry for family members that were convinced by a lot of this.
Yeah.
And then there's a certain point now where it's been too many years of them. They're grown ass adults.
Yeah. And they don't know half
give them
of
any
this
grace anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, okay, this is where, again, this is my hatred of hypotheticals. I think the Santa Claus thing doesn't map at all. The MAGA thing, I think MAGA's way more obvious, the evil that MAGA is doing.
Hold on.
But go ahead, Steven.
Let's see where we stand on this. Here's my question. I don't understand why you aren't holding people responsible for the groups they opt into.
Yeah, I would say, what groups are they opting into?
Whether it's, I mean, in this case, you were saying the church, people don't understand what the group they chose to be a part of is doing, or MAGA, or whatever.
Yeah,
like, why,
so give me a thing that you think they're opting into that you want to hold them accountable for, specifically.
Well, it's your example. You said it's the things the people that go to the church don't know what their church leader is doing, or what their church, and that because they don't know, they're not responsible. That was your example, right?
Sure, yeah, okay. So, yeah, we'll get in. So I would say the leader of this church is extremely wealthy. And also, they buy up a ton of land that's tax-free land.
Yeah, classic mega church shit, right?
Yeah, huge mega church shit. Yeah. And so also, to his credit, they also do, like, a ton of philanthropy.
Sure.
I just don't agree with philanthropy in general. I think it's a Band-Aid. And so I think my
weird statement.
What's that?
That's a weird statement.
Oh, we'll get it. Okay, I'll take notes of that. I think charity is evil, but we'll get it. That's hyperbolic on purpose.
I feel what you're saying, and maybe at length we would agree. Sorry.
Sure. Yeah, I probably think so. But so again, here's where I think how being hyper specific is our friend here, right? My gripes with this megachurch are I don't think anyone should be that rich. I also think we all need taxes to have a functioning society. So tax-free wealth to me feels like stealing, and I don't want someone to steal from my county, right? And then there's a whole host of very specific disagreements with the tenets of religion that these people have just never thought about before, right? So like, there's like a ton of theodicies that I just think when you get into, they don't hold up. These people don't even know what the word theodicy means. To them, it's just a social group, right? Like 99% of religious people go because they get to hang out with their friends. It's free daycare. And it's nice to have lunch with a group of people. That's truly all it is for them.
It's cultural,
Yes.
but why does that...
Yes.
I'm not hearing an answer why they aren't responsible.
Okay, because again, so all they think they're doing is a fun lunch with their friends on Sunday. And so if that's something we want to punish, like we're way off base here. And so I think to start to assign blame where it actually needs to go, I think for this megachurch, there's like a very small number of people that are to blame for this, and then a ton of people that don't know that they're culpable. And so, and also, again, I think the harm here is not very extreme, right? It's not an Israel-Palestine situation. Right, sure. It's just a church that's embezzling a couple $1 million, right? It's like the harm that's actually being done here is so small.
I disagree, and I think
benign example.
I think what we think are the harms of this church are very different. Like you're
okay, yeah. So you tell me. So again, now I'd love to ask you. So I'll give you a quick pitch of my religious background, and then I want to know your guys' religious background, because I also think when I hear people being super, super hateful of all religious people, I see myself 5 years ago, and I have come around so far in this idea that whatever, we'll get it. So I grew up extremely religious. I was part of a missions group. Like me and my wife were training to be missionaries. We went on several missions trips, right? I've read the Bible multiple times, right? Obviously talked about certain parts of the Bible maybe hundreds of times, right? Like definitely parts of the New Testament that you really hammer on. I mean, got to be triple digits, right? Okay, so I know it pretty well. And then I brute forced my way out of it. Almost lost my marriage. A lot of family relationships were super tough for a long time. And so I am intimately familiar with specifically like the type of religion we're talking about. So like, honestly, I'm not that critical of most Catholics because I'm not that well knowledgeable about Catholic affairs. Like I know some of like the scandals of like the large Catholic Church, like the Pope, the Vatican, but like I couldn't even name you a Catholic church in our area. So I'm not the person to go after those. Same thing with like, the religious side of Israel-Palestine. I don't know a ton about that religion, so I have my default, like, I don't think God's real position, but all the nuances I think I couldn't speak on eloquently.
Of what, Islam?
I know Midwestern Christianity. I know the nuances. I know where that religion transcends into politics and social dynamics and abuse very well, and I feel like I'm very well equipped to combat those.
Were you talking about Islam?
Thank you. Islam. Yeah. So I have a blanket, like, I don't think Islam's real. So obviously I don't want anyone doing anything real with that religion because I think the religion's fake. But I wouldn't know enough about the interpolitics of an Islamic family. You know what I mean? Okay. Or like what goes on at their temple and what specifically they talk about because I've never been to one. Right. Okay. But I know what goes on with Christian churches. And so again, it's my position that like, a lot of the things these Christian churches are doing is like just nice. And so those just nice things, you like have to acknowledge like, those things are kind of just nice. It's the bad shit that we want to surgically remove. And if you're just going to say everything that religion touches is bad, then you're saying a nice lunch with children is bad. And now you just look like an idiot.
I disagree. Ricky, do you want to... Do you want to do your background or whatever, and then like arguments on? Because I feel like I feel like Nathan. Real quick, I feel like your arguments on like why the church is bad are like the most superficial parts. Like the fact that somebody got wealthy off of it is like the least of my concerns. Like the fact.
We'll get into it. We'll get into it, baby.
Yeah. So once again, I didn't grow up super religious. My extended family. Yeah, exactly. So we're, I grew up being interested in the idea of religion. Yeah. I think I remember even as early as like 7th grade, like reading about Buddhism and like, learning about, just like Hindu culture and stuff and like just kind of forming an understanding of like, okay,
Taoism? Do you have a Taoism streak?
No, I never really did.
You weren't white enough. You weren't white enough. And
missed out on that one. So later on, it wasn't really ever like super I think I even went through one short phase where I was like, oh, I believe that there's a God. Not the whole Christianity cycle, but I believed that God was real.
Idiot.
And I got there. I think it got there and got out of that within the span of a year. And I think it was shortly within that time frame where I just kind of realized like, oh, all of this is control. All of this is made to
see that's
I feel like it's so much of it's just pushed to stop you from bringing logic into the equation. If you're able to suspend your belief enough to, well, I can think outside of logic for this one thing. Yeah. It pushes more where now you have people who are able to make those jumps in logic much more easily.
Yeah. Because
they're primed to believe that there's fairies in the garden when it doesn't need that.
That's where I think you're wrong. I think I don't think it's like all control like the way you say it. I mean, nothing is that powerful to be all control.
You don't think it's brain-breaking, these losers?
I think that's absolutely the reason it was pushed in the first place, of like Christianity in particular. Like it was used to bring together the Roman Empire. And when they realized, like, oh, we can break these havens, right? Like those Christianity, like pushed that way, right?
Talk to me. Well, hold on. First, Steven. Oh God, I'm writing Roman Empire down. Steven, tell me about your religious background first.
Okay. And then I definitely am excited to go into my actual grades.
Yeah. This is, by the way, imagine like me criticizing the NHS over like a British doctor. I think at some point the British doctor would be like, you're so far removed from the details that you're like not helping. That I think is my pitch to you guys.
That parallel at all.
I want to hear more about that.
Okay, I'll write it down. I'm writing down NHS.
All right. I was baptized and confirmed in the Catholic Church as a kid, I definitely was, I suicidally desired heaven, but was afraid of
it was a big problem,
myself.
actually.
Yeah, because your soul would be condemned to hell. Saved up enough money as a kid, bought my first computer, and the internet gave me freedom. Art and philosophy showed me alternative worlds. Nietzsche, LaVeyan, Satanism gave me hope, and other people helped me find myself. That's like background, and then...
okay, have you read the Bible?
Yeah, multiple times. It was very dumb.
Both Testaments?
Yeah, very dumb book, not worth remembering much of. Sure.
Sure. I agree. One funny anecdote before we get into it. So many Catholics were killing themselves in like the early church because they're like, wait a second, life sucks. If I die, I go to heaven. I'll just kill myself. That's why it is against Catholic doctrine to commit suicide. It's because so many of their members were killing themselves, and they were like, "We're losing people."
It's like the fact that they altered that afterward is like another point. I think to my earlier point of like it's against logic and to the point of like, oh, this is a control thing. Like, no, we need you to be here still. We need more people for this army. We need more people to be here for the mission that we want to have. Yeah. Or the idea that like, oh, the people that are in this country that have never heard about Jesus, like they're safe until they know the word of Jesus. So we're going to go there and tell them the word of Jesus so that now they either have to believe it or they're condemned to hell. And it's like, that seems like such a terrible move if it's honest and true of what you're saying and what you really feel that way. And then it seems like you're doing a mean and terrible thing.
Yeah, I think
proselytizing
these parts
people
of
into hell.
Christianity is such a small percentage of actual people that, again, like these people, yes, like there are specific people I know that I am very combative with because every day, all day, they're doing what you're doing, where they're like, I need to save evil people. The world is full of, demons and sin. Like those people, sure. But that's like less than 0.1% of regular Christians, and I think they deserve special treatment.
My argument, my main part against what you're talking about would be, my main argument against that's going to be, why do you need to get like, okay, say you approach someone with all these ideas of like, these are the reasons why like church can be a bad thing and it's, controlled by people, like the people with a lot of power are, actually doing heinous shit and covering up pedophile shit or whatever. Like there's all these other scandals you can go with, like all the murders and crusades and shit. Yeah. It's like, do you need the religion to do the good things for people?
100% not. Yeah.
Do you need those things in your life to have the charity food lines and whatnot? Like, do you need those kind of things?
Of course not.
So yeah, it's like,
and so I think I'm more dedicated to carving out the religious part from the nice things they're doing part. And so I forget where we're going to go next.
Can I offer an acknowledgement? I agree with Ricky's point, while simultaneously I understand what you're saying, Nathan, and I do agree. The percent of religious people that are militant, that even know what their beliefs are or truly understand what them to be and are illuminated to make that their reality is a very small percent.
Yeah, it's like two online, I guess is what I'm saying.
Well, I would disagree in the sense that I understand what you're saying. Most of it I do think probably is cultural, but my arguments about faith I think are... Sure. I agree with what Ricky is saying, but I think I have a different argument.
Sure. Okay, so I think let's get specific. I think I'm here for the church luncheon. I think a potluck is great. I think we don't need to get rid of potlucks. I think they can keep having potlucks on Sunday. That's not hurting anybody. In fact, that actually probably feeds a lot of people who couldn't eat. So you think the idea of potlucks is bad?
Who's hosting the potluck, motherfucker?
If you're showing up it's like, so here's a real world example.
Yeah.
A lot of the houses on this block are owned by the church.
Yeah.
There's a women's shelter down the road, and they provide a place where these women can rent a place to live. It's like a safer place, whatever. Yeah. They help them with resources and whatnot. To receive those benefits, you have to attend the church.
Right. That's bad. That's the part where it gets bad. Yes. Okay. So the potluck, anyone can go and anyone can eat.
It's promoting themselves.
But
they're not promoting themselves. It's just a potluck. You don't have to go to church after.
Having a potluck is inherently promoting their faith.
If you have to
It's
go to church
attraction.
to have the potluck.
No,
right?
you can just come to the potluck and leave. That's fine.
I agree, but it's still a promotion of their faith. This is like AA attraction rather than promotion. It's not their inherent position that they're trying to insidiously attract people through potlucks.
Right.
They say, they give out food over here. If we show up on Sundays, we're going to get food.
No, I'm with you guys. So I think, again, what we don't like is what they're promoting, right? I was just trying to make a funny joke of, let's start with one thing that we think churches do that isn't bad, which is all potluck.
They do lots
of
of
you're going to say it's not
things.
Actually a... Right, okay, great. We agree. That's all I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Now, let's get to some of the things that we think they aren't doing well, and I think we should talk specific. Go ahead.
Can I do I think this would be the point. Can I do my criticism?
Yes. Hit me. Yeah.
All right, this is a little bit longer, but maybe it might just be enough rope to hang myself. So if I
got my pen.
If I can have a little leeway, I'll go for it.
Go for it.
This is to compensate for you thinking we didn't go hard enough on it. Because I do think most...
You're about to hang yourself.
Yeah, we focused a lot on it.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right.
Yeah.
This is my religion is bad speech, all right? This is a very preliminary list.
Yeah.
And I'll start with a quote. I think it was Karl Marx.
Already something I don't like, you're quoting someone else.
No, it's okay. He said, he had a quote about religion being the sigh of the oppressed creature. And while I agree with that broadly, I find faith to be more of a brain cancer or viral mental illness. Now, first critique. First off is the first lie. The first lie of religion is that God loves you. This lie can only result in two things. A, it will either be a betrayal of the most damaging kind, or B, it creates invisible map boundaries in the mind of the person lied to. It limits that person's curiosity, it limits their trust of things outside of God's will, and it limits their sense of meaning outside of God or the church, all of which contribute to a lifelong downstream consequence that ultimately manifests in them forming a debilitating and delusional mental illness that they are often desperate to infect others with as well. This mental affliction leads towards limitations of freedom for self and others, and overall leads to an increase in suffering. The religious structures themselves, built on the broken backs of the masses, create new hierarchies to oppress, control, and influence the public. The mental illness of faith dictates a person's life by threat of their afterlife. Held spiritually hostage, their followers are trained not to follow their own will, or not to know what that would even be. It is a silver bullet to philosophy. The philosophy killer, God's will, is not to be questioned. Needless to say, every religion has extensive histories of war, violence, sexual abuses, domination of women, rape, genital mutilation, prosecution of gay people, molesting little boys, all the classics. Every flavor of death and domination has been done in God's name. Religion has and always will offer infinite instigation of conflict, easily being one of, if not the largest historical cause, pain and suffering. Last paragraph. Not only does faith spiritually manipulate people to feel illuminated, thus better than others, it also allows the delusionally illuminated to justify their acts of cruelty on behalf of God. It robs those believers of their responsibility for their actions. It teaches people like our parents or family not to question things. It makes them happy and dumb. Not to mention the endless smugness and dumbness, all of these above, which ultimately make the world more ugly and less curious, and perhaps, what may be worst of all, their mental illness is highly infectious, virally spreading by way of social and cultural, whatever. All the various religions, these competing strains of illness, cannibalize the masses, and we all suffer for it. Our world suffers for it. Fuck them all, crucify Christians outside of every major city.
Okay, I'm going to start off by saying I think I broadly agree.
Base,
and
hell yeah.
I think two things. One, I think at the very beginning we could quibble on some of the definitions of God, which we don't have to get into. But sure. I think two, because all of that is true. Oh, my other thing I wrote down. You forgot to talk about the good things religion does, which is important.
I have a sec. We can do that if you want.
If religion was all bad and evil, no one would do it.
Yeah,
sure.
The reason why it's worse that they do good things is that makes it enticing.
Yes.
It would be better if religion was all bad and
Yeah,
evil.
we've talked about that.
So the most insidious thing religion does is sometimes be really good, and it's crazy because it hooks people in for the long run.
Hold on. If you agree with what I read to the extent I believe it to be true, why are you willing to give the normal everyday churchgoers such a pass on their bullshit?
No, I'm not willing to give them a pass. I think if the normal everyday churchgoer wants to get into it with me about why I think they're dumb and wrong, I would love to do that.
Sure.
I think that opportunity is just going to further entrench almost every normal day churchgoer, and they don't want to get into it. And so I think
our goal is
because
different,
you're right, you need to smarten up and come with a flower, not a sword.
I understand what you mean, but then
yes.
our understanding may be the same, but our goal is different.
My goal is to see religion eradicated. Your goal, again, I'm going to put words in your mouth. Yes, your goal is to feel good and to hurt someone.
Yes.
And I think that is such a losing strategy that from my vantage point, if I want to eradicate Christianity, my first priority is getting you to shut up. You're making my job harder.
That's going to be hard.
I don't care about feeling good. I don't care about... Nice, dude. Nice. Hell yeah. I don't care about being right. I don't care about feeling good. I don't want a confidence boost. I just want religion gone. And
Ricky's
so if
probably more in your
get in the way with that, well, I just think your ego is making more religion, and I think you need to see that.
I don't see how that could possibly be true. I've never said
You just said you wanted to feel good and right. You don't want the end of religion. You just said
I want both, but my priority...
You can't have both.
My priority,
you can't have both.
My priority isn't to convince people out of religion. And
sure.
Earlier I addressed, like you look at Martin Luther King to Malcolm X, like there are worlds in which both approaches have their place. And I'm not...
Sure.
I've never preached to someone that was religious that made them more religious. Or I've never created new Christians. I'm sure there could be some of those effects. I do understand the point you're making. But my goal is not, I'm fairly positive I haven't worked against my own goal, or one of my goals, but my only goal isn't just to convince them out of religion.
Can I give you an example of how you've worked against your own goals?
You can try.
Okay, in a previous episode that I listened to, I can't remember the name, you talked about how there was some religious shooting, somebody shot up a church, and kids died. Uh-huh. And you talked about how you sympathized with the shooter.
Absolutely.
And did not feel bad about those kids dying.
That's not what I said.
Okay, well that's how I took it. Okay,
yeah.
But I'll ask you: is that something you kind of restate that for me? So this church shooting happened. These kids died. How do you feel about that?
I am empathetic to both the shooter and the victims.
Okay, that's not what you said in the pod. Actually,
I explicitly said I was empathetic to the shooter. But okay. I don't have as much empathy for these people dying. That's
even
honest.
If they're kids, even if they're 4?
I feel bad for the...
They're not Christians yet.
I understand what you're saying. My point is more on the societal, attack of these shooters. We see school shootings every week or whatever. Everyone has empathy for people dying, being shot. Sure. No one gives a fuck about the people shooting.
And I don't think that's true.
That is super true. They crucify these people on Fox News. They slander their families.
Anything Fox News says as on reality.
On big news, people go after the shooters. There's no societal understanding of what's happening. And I feel like my natural empathy is with these shooters to an extent because I've felt that way. And I don't like that, blameless kids are dying, right? I don't like that, but I put that blame on that church as much, if not more, than the shooter.
Okay, I see. Okay, I see where that statement is different than I first thought. Great.
I'm pretty crass. I might have said something dumber than I.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I think that to me, maybe we circle back around to the feeling good and righteous. For punishing religious people.
Let me ask, why do you feel your goal is better than my goal?
Okay, great. Yeah. I just think that way. And so again, I don't think true right and wrong exist. I don't think
subjective reality or ethics.
I just think I'm going to say something, you're going to say something. Unless we can create a scientific experiment to prove it, neither of us can prove it. And so it's just kind of on the two of us to hold these ideas loosely, but say the thing you think, right? So I am very willing to be wrong about this thing because I can't come up with a double-blind experiment to prove what I'm saying because that's impossible for a religion, which is why they're probably not real, right? Okay, so this is the thing. Maybe this is a good time to pivot. Okay. I think a little bit of science does a philosopher a lot of good in that I think, again, we'll say, I don't think there's anything in philosophy that can be like proven true or proven false. I think once you do that, you kind of leave the realm of philosophy. And so it's a belief of mine that philosophers should never create ideas because they can't prove them. So you're just blowing hot air. Now, it's the philosopher's job to critique existing ideas that they think are false. Sure. But true knowledge only comes from if true knowledge even exists. Jury's out on if true knowledge even exists. But something that's useful, like, knowledge useful enough to build a car that runs, comes from the scientific method. And unfortunately, that kind of knowledge is almost never applicable to anything else, which is a bummer, right? So you can get really, 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 really good at building cars that run and are reliable on math and science. Now, when you ask that mechanic, like, about his political beliefs, it's like, oh boy, none of that's helpful. So, hit me.
How does this, I understand you said you might be pivoting to something else, but how does this justify your goal being better than what my goal would be?
Right, yes. Okay, so you asked me how's that goal better.
Why do you want to convince people not to be Christians? Like, if you had two buttons, one is convince all Christians to leave their faith, or the other button is they're all deleted, gone.
Obviously, I'd choose leave their faith. I'm not going to kill the whole planet.
So, I don't know if I agree.
Don't think about it as killing. Think about it as rapturing. That's what they want, right?
They get their afterlife.
Wait. If you could push a button that would convince all Christians they're wrong and have them all leave their faith and admit they're wrong and start helping to build the better world, or kill them all, you would kill them all?
I would be very tempted. I'm not positive, but I would lean towards punishment.
Great. Okay. Talk to me about why.
Because they should be made of an example. That's why we crucify people, right?
Why should they be made an example of?
So
if there's no more Christians, we don't need examples.
There's a lot of other religions that they're not being deleted too, but I want them gone.
Oh, okay. I thought your button was all religion.
If it was all religion, I would be hesitant. Yeah. Like, there is part of me that, like, if it was that's
more than Thanos.
That's what I'm saying. You're worse than the religious people at this point. If you're going to kill 60% of the world, you're now worse than the religion.
I don't agree. And I'm not positive. That feels cowardly not to pick. I think like if it's real, like a actual real choice, I probably would want to convince them, but I don't feel that way. Like, and if it is just Christians and not other religions, I probably would delete. If it's all religions, I would probably want to convince the world not to be that way. But our goals are different to some extent.
Yeah, I think we need to... Okay, so here's my thing. I think, again, this will get back to what I was saying at the very beginning with being an interlocutor. I think we can come away from this...
Can you define...
or at least...
Interlocutor? Because I think my understanding is, like, sometimes interlocutors aren't there to, like, work out the best answer together. Like, these are often people that combat each other also. And it maybe builds towards something else. But earlier you stated it sounded like a different understanding.
Yeah, so if we're going to be interlocutors, we're going to enter into a discussion that's not about me or you. It's about an idea.
Okay.
And it's up to us to learn the truth of this idea full stop with our full throats. And so that's it, right? That's the idea of an interlocutor. We're working together to interrogate an idea.
I don't know if we are. So and I don't mean that, like, despairingly, but I don't, like... Sure. Take responsibility for what someone else's, like, arguments or understanding are. My goal, I think,
so that's you're not going to be an interlocutor then.
Maybe
so
maybe
if
not.
I want to enter into this with you,
I mean,
it's my job. Go ahead.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No. Yeah. So just the whole idea of an interlocutor is that we're doing philosophy here. We're not yelling at each other. If you want to debate, if you want to argue, go debate or go argue. If you want to, like, do philosophy and work on something and craft it, it's going to take both of us trying to do that, right?
Well, I think we're doing.
And you don't
both.
have to do that.
I feel like it was framed debatey, but I'm cool building too. I like building together.
Yeah, but it's more the fact that we remove the idea from our persons and then we interrogate the shit out of that idea to craft it into something that's good.
Okay.
And so you need to be mean to the idea. I need to be mean to the idea, but it's just an idea.
Well,
so right now we're talking about the idea of religion ending. And I'm saying I think your ego is getting in the way of religion ending. And I think that's bad that you're being ego-driven in this.
I think you could make that assumption, but I don't think it's...
Well, you said it. You said it. I'm not making an assumption. You said, I want to punish these people because it makes me feel good. If you don't stand by that anymore, great.
No, it's not my only goal, though. Like, of course I want the world to change, but I don't accept that as, like, particularly likely in my lifetime or, like, the primary thing. Like, I want to work... there are multiple ends I can work toward, but I feel like all this still goes back to my previous point. If I'm able to radicalize more people to be like me, while simultaneously... whether it's like not scaring, but like make an example of, or like making religious people more anxious about the responsibility they should have for their beliefs. Those are good ends too, that ultimately work towards the part of the goal that we both share. But it's not my only goal to convince people out.
See, again, I would even take umbrage with your phrasing. Like, I don't want to scare anybody. I want to convince people to leave their religion. They're not going to do that if they're scared. I just think we should get into what we think is bad about religion. But first, Richard, you haven't talked in a while. Tell me what you think about this.
No, I'm enjoying the back and forth. You two are both very... I mentioned this before the debate, too, of like, you two are very primed and ready for debate. You both enjoy debate so much.
Yeah.
It's not that I'm not into debate. It's just I'm marveled. You guys are
okay.
You're going back and forth with each other. I don't. If we're gonna go back to the hypothetical of the button pushing, I think I can absolutely see the temptation of pushing it to like I said, I see it as more of a. If we're saying like, oh, a bunch of people drop dead, yeah, that sucks. If we're making this hypothetical button, mystery button up anyways, it's the rapture. They never existed to begin with. You can come up with hypotheticals to make that, situation work where it's not like, oh, a bunch of people just die. Mm-hmm. I would say though, with the amount of people, I would rather people be convinced otherwise. I feel like there is a large gap to build back from after that. It's like trying to catch someone up on a bunch of understanding they didn't have before to like understand like, okay, well, if that's not real, then like, why don't we go kill people? And it's like, well, because it's just bad to do.
Sure. Can I build off that? You think it's just bad to kill people? Like, no. And here's my question: is
yeah.
Like I understand what you're saying, Ricky, but I don't think it's bad to harm bad people. First off, and then the second off is,
well, how do you determine who's bad?
That's subjective, right? We both know that. And
of
then
course.
if you do want to do interlock, I'm willing to build. Like, is there an end you're looking towards building?
Okay, my end is being able to convince all religious people that religion isn't true. I think the best way to do that is not through the blunt force of how you use your speech. And I think you're actually creating more religious people.
No religious people are listening to this. We're not converting anyone to Christianity here.
But I think there are probably people that know nice religious people and nice atheist people. And if they hear also, we need to take away the audience from this. You're saying these things out in the world. You can't say, no one's listening to this. This was another thing I had written down pre-coming here.
I kind of can.
I hate qualifying your ideas pre-saying them, right? So you said something on the 209 episode where you're like, I want to write a book, but I'm a really bad author. And then actually Richard was like, oh, that's fine. You're just an author if you're writing. Don't qualify yourself out of your idea before saying it. That just gives you license
I was half
to be
joking
wrong
there
without
for
consequence. Sure, of course.
But I understand what you mean, but...
yeah. If you're going to say, I can say something that's wrong and stupid because no one's going to hear it, listen to yourself. Sure. Don't say the thing then. Right?
Wait, what was the thing that was wrong and stupid, though? Like, that I'm potentially, like, galvanizing religious people?
You said, like, no Christians are listening to this podcast. It's like, well, that doesn't matter if that has no bearing on if what you're saying is good or not.
That's fair. But I don't think...
What if a Christian listens to this podcast?
I don't want them listening.
Well, sure. What I'm saying is, like, your words should be true whether or not Christians listening to them or an atheist.
But you said that's if the audience is removed. You don't know like what my goal is. Like my goal might not
what's your
be
goal?
With the podcast or with speaking the way I do.
Like, let's talk about, in regards to religion, is your goal to end religion?
Not necessarily, because I don't see that as like a practical objective. That's a thing you can make steps towards. My goal, if I had to distill it, like realistically, my top goal is to express myself. Is to like to say how I feel. Under philosophy, one of your questions, like I consider myself a rejectionist, an idealist, and an artist. Like I care about expressing myself for self-soothing or ego reasons. Like that's true. And then
I think that definitely tracks.
Yeah, and then I want to radicalize more people to feel the way I do. And which at least the second or third thing, these still
Why do you
work
use the
towards
term
our
radicalize?
Because I want people to be radically or passionately a rejectionist to religion.
I want people to, and I can feel that, because the idea is like, I want you to be mad about this. Like, I feel like people should be mad about this, how fucked up it is.
Yeah.
And so I want more people to be more upset about these things that are happening. I want more, I feel that about a lot of things lately.
Okay.
But
like let me and this. One thing, real quick. Go ahead.
If one of our listeners burns down 10 churches, I'm happy.
Wild. That's a wild statement.
I think it's a good thing.
What if there are for example, my dad's church on Tuesday, it's just a school. They're not using the building, so they rent it out for a homeschool program, non-religious affiliated, just a building. Mm-hmm. What if that group gets burned down in this building?
The people or the church? And
like you said, I want listeners of this podcast to go burn down 10 churches. What if that means they do it on a Tuesday and they just kill a bunch of atheists who are using it for a homeschool group?
I mean, I'm obviously not going to think that's good.
Yeah, that's
sure. Okay, so I think a
not
statement
based at all.
Well, I think a statement like that, where you're like, I want someone to go burn down 10 buildings. That is such a.
If we're talking philosophy, the essence of what I'm arguing. It's that I want there to be aggressive, potentially violent, or at the very least, just punishing acts to these religious groups. And I don't think of the daily churchgoers as being exempt just because they're too stupid. Okay, like, I don't want to like hurt people that like kids in a church that didn't do anything wrong yet, didn't have a chance to like discover themselves or change their mind. But I do want people similar to me and Ricky to like feel like someone else understands their anger, and I want other people to feel that. And ideally, maybe you convince some people along the way. But my primary goal isn't to go out and like logically debate people out of their positions, like you said with the mother-in-law, whoever. Like I have family that I care about that have shitty beliefs, and I'm not like coming up like lighting their car on fire. Like I'm gonna try to be convincing and like empathetic, but I am also gonna like probably be slightly cruel because I feel that way.
Okay, well, so two things I want to talk about. One, the idea that punishment is for you, not for change. So I am like radically. Both. I am like radically non-punishment. I feel like punishment is almost always to make the person feel good. And that's fine. You can want your punishment, but you need to recognize that's not going to help the broader society. The first more interesting thing, I think,
revenge and forgiveness,
or like in regards to like the death penalty, right? Like,
I agree. Our justice system's primary goal is punishment, not like
not rehabilitation. Right?
I agree.
Here you say like I want to punish Christians. I'm like that seems pretty selfish.
But I'm not the government. I'm an individual who has a beef with religious.
Okay, so here's Interlocutor 101. I think you don't want to abolish religion. I think you want to feel good by punishing people you disagree with. And if that's what you want to do, just say that.
I feel like I stated my goal pretty clearly, that there's both. That my goal is to punish people and feel good, feel better about myself, have other people feel better being understood. And also, I want to convince people out, but it's not my primary goal at all.
Sure. So I think you're using religion as a vehicle to jerk off, essentially. You're using
I like jerking off. Don't you like jerking off?
No,
what do you mean?
Yes. And so you're a random MAGA supporter. I'm Mitch McConnell in this example. You are really outraged about a thing. And you want to be really outraged about a thing.
Hey, if you want to be Mitch McConnell, do you, bro?
Well, so here's the problem, right? Mitch McConnell
is maybe
the most successful evil person on the planet because he moved past his anger and he started calculating.
There's some truth to that for sure, but I don't think there clearly isn't the same level of responsibility. And I'm allowed to have a different goal. Like, why do you think my goal should be convincing people.
No, I don't think your goal should be convincing people. I just want you to know you're not doing that.
I don't think I ever claimed that.
Okay, great. I mean, you write a lot of manifestos. Those feel like things that are built to convince.
But you're discounting that there can't be shared motives.
I thought a manifesto was almost more to express.
Sure, great. Yeah, that's fine. Whatever it is, that's what you're doing.
But all together, still, you're discounting a shared belief. Like, you don't think I can have two goals? Even if one's a primary?
You can have two goals. I think one is being served a lot more than the other. I think the lube is on your hand, baby. I
don't disagree.
I think the pants are off. Yeah, so I'm saying, as somebody who... this is what I'm saying. I hate religion more than you guys. I've set my ego aside. I'm dedicated to ending religion.
You can't make that
claim. You're in the corner jerking off.
I don't think you can make that claim.
We're just talking about it. Your ego can't be set aside to truly end religion. You want to feel good.
Your goal is unrealistic. You think, like, because you have a more rational approach at a more unrealistic goal that it's, like, better or more effective. I can promise you my feelings are far more passionate. Even if my methods are wrong, like, I think your goal is not attainable. That's what I think makes you an
ineffective tool, is your feelings are so big that you're never going to convince someone to walk away from their religion.
But I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
Great.
Yeah.
That's fine. And so, as somebody who does want people to walk away from their religion, you're making my job harder. That was my critique.
I don't think that's true, but I
does this play to you at all, Richard? Do you get what I'm saying?
I can kind of see where you're coming from, but I feel like it's also the idea of, like, why not both?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm saying you can't have both.
It's like
yes,
you could be wrong about that, but that's what I'm saying.
There's something also, like, the way the church has been doing for centuries, decades of, like, when the general public isn't cool with their situation, another sect will break off, and it's like, we allow gay people to come here, and, like, you can come here and be fine, and then, like, you can eat meat on Fridays or whatever, and, like, they give in to things to get more people in. So the idea of being furious with those things, like, we have talked about it on the much older episode. Like, when you don't do that, like, they should stick to their morals. This is what they believe in, right? Like, why are they changing the word of the book? But what happens is then you get more extremists, and, like, that's like when people start realizing that this sucks. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. You have more people that are like, well, I'm going to back away from this. I'm going to stay away from this. They keep, changing the rules to keep more people in. I think that's wrong. We've talked about that. I think the idea of coming at it from a logical standpoint works for some people, but I definitely believe that there's a considerable amount of people that are, whether how much they actually know about their own, claimed beliefs, they'll never make the change because they've made it part of their personality. They grew up with it. Their whole family's like this. They're not willing to make that change. So coming at it with rationalism is not a changing factor for a considerable amount of believers.
Sure. Okay, I gotta pee real quick, but I'm writing that down.
Hurt.
Take your time.
We're back.
What's a vibe check? Are we all good, chilling?
Yeah, we're good.
How you feeling?
Good.
Fired up.
How you feeling?
Fired up.
Yep.
I feel good, though. I don't understand his point there, but it's okay. I feel like I understand. I just don't know why that, like you said, there can't be two things. Like, and nothing works for everyone.
All right, baby.
All right.
Vibe check, you good?
I'm great. I'm loving it. How am I too?
No. We're all great. We just want to make sure.
A lot of fun.
I'm fired. Okay. I'm fired up, but I'm very much enjoying this.
Great.
Can I?
Let me go ahead. I'll write this.
Do we want to pivot, or do we want to drill down on, like, why? I just don't.
We're an hour in.
I have a good pivot, I think.
Well, can I ask one question before the pivot?
Yes. Hit me.
Why do you feel like both, like, there can't be both goals? We're not always applying the same goal to the same people. Like I said, I'm often going to be, like, much more chill or logical with real people, I think might be able to convince. But why can't we have both goals effectively?
Sure. I think a couple of things. One, I think kind of what Richard was getting at. I have extreme disdain for like the macro organizations and the leaders of those organizations. Sure. I don't think the people that are just coming to Sunday are as culpable as you think, and I think it's just wasted energy, right? So it's purely like I've made the judgment call. Who gives them the money? Well, I'm just saying I've made the judgment call that to actually end this thing, you can't. It's like arresting every boots on the ground drug dealer or the kingpin of the organization. It's just, you just can't do this by arresting there's too many of them. You know what I mean? Like sure. 1.5 billion Catholics on the planet. I can't I can't eradicate all of those.
But you can't convince them either.
Well, sure. I mean, I think global, act local, right? So the Catholics I know, I give them two questions. I'm like, one, we could talk about religion. I'm going to be really mean. Or we can not talk about religion, but if you do anything too offensive, I will have to say my piece. Every person of every religion I've ever met has heard that. They know that, right? Either you can stay benign and we can go out to lunch and play tennis or whatever, or we can talk religion and we'll do what we're doing right now. It's going to get really intense. And some people love it. Some people great, I don't want to talk religion with you. And I'm just one person, so I have to accept that's my limits, right?
I get that, but essentially I'm interlocuting and saying, hey, there's a place for both things. And I don't do one thing as much as the other, but I believe what I do has its place. And you're saying, no, it's actually worse to do that.
Yeah, if you want,
I'm locking with you. You're not locking with me, buddy.
Yeah. No, get specific about a thing you think I said doesn't have a space. So I think the ego. It makes it harder to convince someone that they're wrong if your ego is front and center. The pleasure you take in using words like punishment, I think that it gets really hard to convince people about something if you're bringing words like that into the conversation.
Well, what about the other people like me and Ricky who have the passionate feelings we do, but haven't honed in why they're so angry with the religion or need to hear that someone else feels the way they do? You don't think buffing that has a place?
Absolutely. Yeah, you should have friends and you should talk about that stuff. I'm just saying, you guys have a podcast and aren't doing that. You're not just talking. You're broadcasting your thoughts for people to hear. And I just thought you guys would maybe want to be aware of the fact that as your podcast goes for convincing religious people not to be religious, I think it does more harm than good. And if you guys are great, co-sign that. Awesome, we agree.
Well, I think it's reasonable though. At least for me, Ricky may feel slightly differently. I would rather have an audience of a bunch of people that emotionally need to hear how we feel or need to know someone else feels that way than I would to have an audience of people that a bunch of Christians that maybe are critiquing themselves and want to get convinced out of it.
I think that's beautiful.
I also agree with that. I'm not, if anything, I'm not showing up, every other week to put together something that is meant to cause a change in someone's feelings or whatnot. It's more the heart of it. It feels what I usually end up getting it out of at the end of the day is it's like a free therapy session.
Yeah, it's great. We're purists. I can express we're artists. This is our art.
Yeah, we're artists.
Sure. No, I actually love that. I think that's beautiful. I just thought my critique I wanted to levy at you guys was, and I maybe came into this thinking you guys thought you were damaging Christianity more than you were.
Probably
I think probably you're helping the fervor of Christianity. And if that's worth it because it makes you feel good to do, awesome. I want you to do what you want to do. I want you, this is the thing that was going to maybe pivot us. I think I don't ever want someone to change their actions from what I say. That gives me too much power. I want to say things to you. I want you to think about those things and say things to me. But
yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'm the one that's going to change my actions. You're the one that's going to change your actions. Well, so if something I said was so potent that you're going to do something differently right now, I was being uncareful with my words and too charismatic.
No, I think you're
that's on me.
But I think
no, that's just saying this is my personal ethos. I don't want to do that.
But to your point, so, there's a realistic boundary where realistically our audience is very small and there are no strong Christians listening. And if all of a sudden we did have a bunch, I probably, to some extent, would want to adjust my strategy.
Sure.
So I think maybe our
so not killing all Christians. Now you're adjusting your words to make them feel comfortable. That's
I don't have a magic button to do it. If I did, I still might.
All right, I get
it's a lot of legwork to crucify all the Christians and then putting them up in
a lot of crosses to build, man.
The big city centers.
And they gotta light them on fire so the crosses are single use. It's tough.
Crazy. It's crazy.
But my point is,
but here's my whole philosophy.
There's a place for both. And I think maybe your impression of what we were trying to do and what we're actually doing is just, there's a disconnect, or was a disconnect. You know what I mean?
Definitely. Here's my philosophy ethos that will maybe pivot us. Okay, I don't want you to do anything, I'm saying. I want you to know the things you think with no hypocrisy in that.
Sure.
And be happy that that's the thing you're doing.
Sure.
Right? So like a Christian, like you said in your couple paragraphs, was like God, when they learn that God isn't all loving, that's the ultimate betrayal. That is the ultimate betrayal.
Sure.
And I think for so many Christians, the fast track out is to realize that the philosophy of their God figure is super evil, and they can either justify it and double down, or they do what I did, reckon with it. It sucks, but then that's your path out.
Yeah, deconstruction.
And so again, I don't want you guys to do anything. Yeah. I want you to say everything you think and stand by it vocally with no hypocrisy. And so I just...
We're there, baby.
You're great. You're great. So my whole critique of you guys was like, again, I think your podcast helps fervor Christianity. But if you're like, great, I don't care, I want that.
But I
think disagreement there.
I think you should be forced to abandon that to some extent, because there's no way you could prove or show evidence of that to be true. You could hedge.
I mean, nothing. Again, this is where philosophy is not going to create an idea. Nothing we do has evidence. But I can say I've listened to your podcast, me, myself, and been like, oh, wow, the thing you just said was so ugly that I'm siding with the Christian here.
I would put that as a flaw on you.
Hey, but that's evident. That's like a lived experience of how what you're doing sent me siding with the Christian, which is crazy.
Well, maybe you should internalize that and deconstruct to have a different response.
But again, so you could do all of those things as well. And if that's the effect you want on people, awesome.
My internals are perfectly in order. Everything is in tip-top shape. We're good to go.
Okay, amazing. Then we're set. Then we agree.
Pivot ahead, good sir.
Pivot ahead. Mitch McConnell's going to steer this ship back on the insidious rails.
Fuck yeah, bro.
Do you guys know, like, how good's your Mitch McConnell history, by the way? He's crazy.
Yeah.
So he ran as a Democrat.
He was effective.
Got elected and then immediately jumped ship and bailed on all of the people he said he was gonna like do policy for. Like he got a bunch of votes from unions by being like, hey, day one, you're gonna meet me in my office and we're gonna hammer out a great deal. Immediately got elected, was like, nah, I'm a Republican. Fuck you guys deleting your phone number. It's crazy. Yeah. He's just so evil.
But you did say earlier you thought he was one of the most like influential figures of all history.
Effective. He's one of the most effective Republican politicians this country's ever seen, and we are worse off for it.
I would agree with that.
And so imagine if he was a Democrat, how good democratic principles could be in this country.
Maybe.
It'd be awesome.
I don't think, but I think there might be some subjective truth over what a person like really wanted outside of like the opportunism.
Yeah, I mean, Mitch McConnell doesn't believe a single thing he said. He just wanted power. Sure. And he thought republicanism was the way to get it, and he got it.
Very J.D.
And we're all
Vance
suffering the consequence. Oh, dude. Yeah. J.D. Vance, man, people don't know. I mean, you guys probably know this, but if Trump dies and J.D. Vance becomes president, we are so fucked.
Yeah,
J.D. Vance is willing to do or say anything with more intellect than Trump has.
Yes, but he
and maybe that means he'll burn out, but I'm scared of the alternative where he doesn't burn out and we're like full-blown Nazi Germany.
I agree that his goals would be far worse, but he is a weaker man than Trump, as pathetic as that is.
He doesn't have the charismatic sauce,
yes,
sure.
And he has less support. People will bail. Yes. I don't think he has the legs for it, essentially.
Or they'll stick with him, and then we have Stephen Miller and J.D. Vance creating.
That's scary too.
Like, Stephen Miller gives all those like Nazi codes in his speeches and stuff. It's insane, dude.
Oh yeah. So not to rush you, where do you want to pivot to? Where do you want to head?
Oh, okay. Yeah, let me go back into my notes. Okay, I would love to talk about let's this one might be a quick one. I don't really know where you guys stand at, but we can get a little philosophical here.
Ricky, feel free to headbutt me more too.
Heard.
I feel like we're
more
competing. We're like wrestling for the mic sometimes.
So I think this is actually pretty interesting. I kind of find myself. I think you and I have worked out a lot of our thoughts, so I think you mostly know where I fall.
Yeah.
I fall maybe a little less on the extreme side most of the time.
Yeah.
But I am not too difficult to turn around to it on a bad day.
Sure.
I
think anyone who's not isn't human. Right. But you gotta fight those things for instance.
Yeah. I think I find myself falling between both of you two a lot in this.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting to listen to you two hashing it out.
Oh yeah.
Okay, here's a good one. I think my understanding of what makes nihilism a useful idea, I think, is amongst philosophy bros not really thought of, and I think a lot of people who would consider themselves not philosophical definitely think this and don't know that it's like a real powerful philosophical stance. They just think it's like a thing. But I think once you get into the weeds with philosophy, this tends to go downhill so fast.
Okay.
And so why don't you guys tell me like how you feel on nihilism? Like I describe myself as very nihilistic.
Just to refresh, nihilism is the one about don't believe in anything. Is that the one?
Oh yeah. So nihilism is the idea that nothing has inherent meaning.
Sure.
Yeah. And so I think the whole nothing matters camp does a disservice to nihilism. Nihilism is the idea that there isn't an inherent meaning to start with, and that means you have to create meaning. And it doesn't mean that you just drift through life saying nothing matters so I can kill people because nothing matters.
And
that's where I disagree with nihilism.
Yeah, we've done some deep dives on this. It's been a little while, but I think Ricky probably gravitates towards your understanding of it, that you have to build your probably even more than I do. But go ahead, Ricky. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I for the lack of I'm not super versed in philosophy.
That's okay.
I admit that right off the bat. Yeah. From what I do understand, and basically based on what you just said, yes, I don't believe there's a lot of inherent meaning to life on this planet.
Well, let me one-up you. Inherent meaning is things like slavery, right? Me saying you have an inherent meaning, it's to be a slave.
Sure.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's the problem with inherent meaning.
Yeah.
Right? You can't take someone else's prescription for you. They need to give you the freedom to prescribe things yourself. And then obviously, because we're all a collective, we should work together.
Yeah.
But as soon as you have an inherent meaning, that's just global slavery to whatever that guy's ideas are.
I can't co-sign that, but I don't fully... We could drill down on that, or we could keep going, because I'm not quite sure.
Okay, I think let's drill down. So a big Nietzsche point, right? Beyond good and evil. Mm-hmm. There's no such thing as objective evil. There's no such thing as objective good.
Yeah.
Well, and so why does he say that? What's his reason for saying that as a useful tool for conversation?
The idea, I would assume the idea of like you can see something from multiple sides. There's multiple sides to any, like someone is shot and like, okay, or someone is killed by another person. That alone, you could argue like one way or the other if you said like someone killed their abuser, and it's like that tilts the weight of just that headline.
There's get different to build our world.
I assume that's the message with. I don't know.
I'm going to draw a graph that our listeners can't hear. So the whole thing, and talks about this in Beyond Good and Evil, is that the reason why there isn't an objective good and there isn't an objective evil is not that like maybe those things do exist. It's that sure as fuck no one knows everything about the entire world to say that. The person who does is lying. But furthermore, if I say, what's the evilest thing ever? Maybe killing someone. What's the goodest thing ever? Charity, whatever you want to be. Yeah. If I find something eviler than killing somebody, I look like a dumbass for planting my flag in the sand and being like, this is evil. Because then you found something more evil, and now I've been shown an ass of myself. And so the idea of nothing is objectively good and nothing is objectively evil is those are tools of oppressors to say things like that.
Well, right? I disagree with your language there, but I mean, me and Ricky both agree with your overall point. The idea is like, we get to build our world. We get to choose what's right and wrong. But
I would also agree with that.
Yeah,
but
sure.
I don't like the oppressor-oppressee language in that.
That's fine. Sure.
That assumes like there's universal...
I'm not married to any of that. Yeah,
okay, cool.
But so the idea of nihilism is to then build a better world. If you're going to use nihilism as an argument to talk about why the bad thing you did doesn't matter, that's weak shit.
Hold on though. I don't think that's inherent. I agree that is often, there's like so many interpretations of philosophical nihilism. I agree that's probably like a good one. I think Ricky tends to feel that way even stronger than I do, that maybe nothing matters, but we get to choose what does matter to us and build our world.
Yes.
Nothing's inherent. Nihilism was made up. Nihilism's not a thing.
Yeah, we both believe in subjective ethics and
great. Okay.
Yeah, reality.
I would say people who use nihilism to justify stupid things, those people are pussies and they need to fucking leave.
I think
agree with that. The use of the tool
fully.
Of nihilism is to then get rid of dogma and build a better world.
I understand what you're saying, and I in part agree, but let me offer some pushback.
Please, no one's pushed back yet.
I agree that the nihilism, like a good understanding of nihilism, is not that just nothing means anything. But
and I can kill someone tomorrow because nothing matters, bro.
Yeah,
but I do feel some of that in the sense I think I naturally feel nihilism more deeply than a lot of people, and I think there is a lot of truth in that nothing ultimately matters. Now, where I push this to historically is, do you know the peanut butter test?
What's the peanut butter test?
Let's see if you pass or fail. All right, you wake up in the morning, and you have two choices. You go out downtown and you give out peanut butter sandwiches to all the homeless people. Or option 2 is you just kill them all. You poison all the sandwiches, you go out with your gun or whatever, and you just murder all the homeless. At the end of the day, does it matter?
It depends. If my goal was to give everyone a peanut butter sandwich, option 1 is great. If my goal was to murder a bunch of people, option 1 was bad.
Subjective, but let's get to objective.
So this is the point. There is no objective meaning to anything. So when you say, does it matter, you smuggled in a term with that it. I need to know what it is. Right? The question, what's the meaning to life? Stupidest question on the planet. There isn't one. What's your meaning to what you're doing right now? Great question. You can answer that.
Yes.
And so when you say, does it matter? I need to know what capital I, capital T it is.
Okay. I understand what you're saying, but can we, and we might not have a disagreement here. I haven't offered a judgment yet, but the essence of what this hypothetical is addressing is, does what we do matter?
Again, I think that question smuggles in an idea. Matter for what, to who?
Well, it's to you, to the world. I mean...
So
you understand the essence, though.
I'm saying I think you're doing what Christians do right now. You're creating... I'm going to do this a lot, by the way.
I understand your critique.
You're creating a divine meaning for matter. I'm saying nothing matters. Right?
Yes.
There's no intrinsic matter. But... I would not want to go kill a bunch of homeless people, so in that sense, it would matter. If I did want to go kill a bunch of homeless people, that'd be a great idea.
Can I offer my answer and see what you think?
Hit me. Yeah.
Okay, so in one of your questions, you mentioned the theoretical philosophy versus applied. My answer is that I feel the nihilism more than I think a lot of people. I truly believe nothing matters. I think if I wake up and give out peanut butter sandwiches or kill people all day, I think ultimately, truly, which is smuggling in a lot of shit, I understand, but the essence is that I don't think it matters. But I don't want to live my life in that theoretical philosophy. And my applied philosophy is that I don't want to go out and do that every day. Right?
Again, I think it matters. Let me ask you this. Is there when you say it matters... What is this it you're talking about? So when Christians will say, this is why I accuse you of being Christian. Christians will say
is the framing everyone else offers. I understand that there's not a true thing here, but so this sentence means a lot of stuff to a lot of people, and we could do language philosophy all day, but I think you know what I'm
Well, I think if we're going to do this, we need to get specific. We can't afford to be this callous, right? So if you say, yes, in 10,000 years, no one's going to know if I gave out the peanut butter sandwiches or murdered the people. Of course. But I don't live my life for what people 10,000 years from now are going to know.
I agree. That my answer reflects that.
Sure. So to me, this is just a dumb question, right?
It might be a philosophy level 1 question, but there clearly is value on do our actions have meaning or not? I feel like I offered an answer.
I think, do they have meaning to who? Right?
To ourselves, to the world, to each other, whatever. Great. Ultimately, afterlife, from a religious framing, there's a million answers we could plug in. You could say they're all dumb, but I mean...
So let me ask you this then.
I think there's an essence.
Do your actions have meaning to you? If you went and killed those people, you wouldn't feel any kind of way about it.
No, that wasn't my answer. My answer was that
what was your answer?
My answer was that it doesn't matter, but I don't want to live that way.
Okay, sure. So I would say, here's where I think there's no such thing as applied philosophy, only practical. You can't...
Very praxis of you.
Well, if this action is purely hypothetical, it's useless, right? If this question is, no one's ever going to do this, whatever, this is useless. if we're going to talk about a real, like, okay, I'm going to go downtown right now where I am and shoot somebody.
Sure.
That person is dead and that matters to them. That's the only frame of reference we should use to talk about these things, right? We should talk about...
You're assuming what someone else cares about matters more than what you care about?
No. I'm saying...
Because you said my framing was goofy by putting that as like an ambiguous world. Does it matter? Is it like... But you boiled it down just to what that they care matters.
No, I'm sorry. And you and them. But I think, like, if you're going to say, what does the nebulous it matters... but it is never tied to a person, place, or thing, I think that doesn't matter.
Well, I understand what you mean, and that is like I think that is fair. Like, I'm annoyed by it because I think it is fair, but like, when people ask this question, typically what they're getting at is like, is the essence of like, does it matter to the universe?
This is fancy boy shit. I think this question, stupid. I think... if you want to sit here and talk about hypotheticals, I'll leave. You guys can do that. If we want to talk specifics, so should I go to Florida to this address and shoot the person that lives there? No, obviously not. Right. What if that person is an evil rapist? Sure, go kill them. You know what I mean? Once we add specifics in, now we can make real judgment calls about the hypothetical.
But there's a certain amount of the nihilism where I think the questions do matter in a sense. If you kill 10 people tomorrow, I can't truly care about that. Like, there's an element of it, but I don't think our lives have true
Richard, what do you think about
meaning. That? Ricky feels nihilist. He's going to fight it too, but I think it's okay to feel that way as long as your answer at the end of the day is to act in a way that doesn't always reflect that. That's why I feel like the question has some validity. Like,
so if I'm going to go tomorrow and kill 10 people, you're going to say that doesn't matter.
No. So here's where I mostly end up on this is because we have debated this a few times of like, school shooting happens and it's like, that's terrible. At the end of the day, it does not affect me. It's
don't
does
go
it
down
make
this,
me upset?
Don't do it this way.
I don't think that's true. That doesn't make you sad to hear. It might not affect you as much as your mom dying,
sure.
but it affected you.
It does and it doesn't. It's like it affects me in a way like it
doesn't affect you as much.
That's a bummer, and especially with the larger proliferation of it happening. It's like I can't keep grieving this same thing happening.
100%.
Wait, right. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I have to short circuit this. Why would you be? My answer is in line with my beliefs of our previous discussion. I want to punish people, right? Religious people. I don't ultimately think any of it matters, right? That tracks, right? It's for like, you can put it on my ego or feelings or whatever. But to say like, oh, I'm going to convince people out of it and it makes sense because of course everything has purpose or meaning. Like there has to be some congruence here. Do you get what I'm addressing?
I guess here's my question then. I think if your matters is missing...
Lame.
No, you're fine. I think if your question is missing real specifics, I don't give a fuck.
Okay, then we can move on to another question of like why.
Yeah, once you add in any actual specifics, then we can talk about who's right or who's wrong. But if you're like, if I go tomorrow and kill 10 people, it ultimately doesn't matter. It matters to the 10 people you just killed. It matters a lot to them. They're dead.
Well, let's get to the essence, and I feel like you'll easily be able to critique my language here, but I think you know what I'm appealing to. Do you feel like your life matters? Like, does what we do matter?
Yeah, I would say I have created meaning for myself.
Mm-hmm.
I think, again, there is no ultimate meaning, which gives me license to create my own meaning. So I have built a life that's incredibly meaningful to me.
Sure.
But I reject the idea that there is this it, or there is this ultimate meaning. I think that's a distraction. I think that's stupid. I don't think we need to talk about that.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I think people get bogged down in trying to like sum things up in terms of ultimately, was that the right decision? And it's like, well, no, it needs to be the right decision in the context, and outside of the context, it's meaningless.
I understand what you mean, but I think to dismiss it as like a stupid, trivial question, purpose of life, level, low tier, mid-witty thing, I kind of feel that too, but I think there is an element of
I'm being mean. I'm being mean. No, for sure I'm being mean.
I am too. But I think there's truth to like, most people wrestle with this shit. And I think understanding of like, if our lives have value is like a hard thing to figure out or to understand. And like part of, I think, asking the question helps some people, whatever, get to the point of like, well, maybe it doesn't, but I have to build it then.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think and again, this is just totally off rip. This is not, it has no base ethic. But I think part of the reason why so many people struggle with this question is we give it this kind of reverence.
No,
right?
It's religion.
It's
not the philosophy. It's not the low tier philosophy. It's the religion.
Religion is part of it for sure. There's a lot of things that claim to give meaning.
What do you think? What do you think has more of an effect on this? Or the religious culture of our country or world, or people?
I think religion's downstream from this. I think religion was created downstream of this idea. I don't think religion created the yearn for meaning. Religion was a response to people having meaning.
I agree.
Let me. I think that might be true, but in the general life of someone who's born into a family that goes to church, they grow up in doing it their entire lives. The church comes first in that situation, where their ability to suspend disbelief, or to suspend, not even disbelief, to suspend their ability to check logic outside of God's will, the purpose that God's will.
Sure. I mean, we can get into it. I don't think Christians think they're checking logic. I think Christians think they're the most hyper logical.
Yes.
Of course. Exactly. So,
but they're not doing that.
Right. Exactly. So they're not going to check logic. They're not going.
They don't think they are, at least.
Right. Yeah. So I think that's definitely the biggest proponent of pushing the idea that telling someone of what their purpose is before they have an opportunity to decide that for themselves.
Sure. Again, I think to go back to what Stephen was saying about a lot of people struggle with this search for meaning. I think the reason why people struggle with it is we say that there's a meaning. Mm-hmm. And so, if you heard that there's a meaning and then you instantly don't know what it is, now we have this struggle for meaning.
There's some truth to that, for sure, but you don't think there's anything inside of us that even if it's a delusion that tries to find these things, I think I agree.
Evolutionarily, we have developed a yearn for meaning because it was more advantageous.
I agree with you. A lot of it is cultural, right? Like what people say you have to have selection. But I think there is something internal happening also.
What do you mean? There's a real search for meaning that's happening for real inside your body in a cell somewhere? Or what do you mean?
Maybe that would be more physicalism stuff, but I'm not sure.
Talked about. Let me step in on this, because we've talked about this too, of the need for a purpose, or the having a purpose is a need, not a want. It's a thing that gives you, it's that's the thing that makes you get up in the morning. Yeah. It's not having some kind of a purpose, even if it's just to I gotta get up so I can bring, the fucking newspaper in today before it gets rained on.
Feed the cats.
Yeah, feed the cats so that they don't die, even though if I don't, if that's the only purpose that you give a shit about, that's still purpose. Having that is tantamount to, it's the most important thing.
Let me yes and you here. Sure. I fully agree with you. And so if I've heard that there is this capital I, it, that matters, getting up and getting the newspaper to me feels like it's too small to be that thing. And so now that act is diminished. If I hear there's no meaning to life and it's up to you to create your own meaning, and you put a lot of pride in every day getting the newspaper, that can genuinely make you feel good. That's fucking awesome. So for me, a big thing when I left religion was finding awe in things that aren't religious.
Sure.
And now learning about science and figuring out cool things about the world. That is so meaningful to me because I've decided it should be.
Sure.
And it's a great way to live. So for example, this is a cool science fact. Do you guys know about Planck lengths?
Planck length?
Yeah.
No.
It's the length at which anything will become a black hole. So every single thing has a size in which if your mass was compressed to that size, you'd fall in on yourself and become a black hole. Okay. So the Planck length for the planet is a house cat. If everything in the planet was compressed to about the size of your average house cat, it would become a black hole. I think that's so cool.
That's pretty sick.
I think that's so fucking awesome. That and little things like that are so meaningful to me because I've decided they are. And it makes me much more happy to learn about these things. Now, if there was a capital IT meaning and science facts didn't matter, I'd be really bummed out because I like science facts.
Yeah.
Okay, but so anyway, that's my thing is we do a disservice to people by talking about meaning as if it's this broad thing that exists. And really what they need to hear is it's up to you to create your own meaning. And that's perfect. Well, that's good. That's awesome.
We're both probably in agreement with that, but I think it's fair to say not all of it's cultural, that people really do feel these things. They feel a need to have a purpose.
Yeah, that's
sure. Some do, some don't. Like I said, I think it's all evolutionary. Yeah.
I don't know if it's all evolutionary, but I
don't want to speculate on what everyone else thinks.
Yeah, sure. I'll speculate as I will.
I want to give myself some license to speculate pretty hard.
I am my own god master. Next question. No, I understand what you're saying.
Okay, this one might not be so contentious, but do you guys think like a big thing for me, like a huge foundational thing of mine, is that it is impossible to know something? But you can know that certain things are false, and then you can build a useful cohort of ideas from things we know are false, but it's almost impossible to know something is true. So for example, we know that the rate of gravity on Earth is 9.18 meters per second squared. That's very useful. It allows us to like build shit, right?
Sure.
We then found that like actually our tools for measuring gravity were only sensitive to the size of Earth-shaped things.
Yeah.
And when you get down to the quantum scale, or you get up to the universal scale, we realize we lack the specificity to measure actual gravity.
Sure, yeah.
And so, again, we don't know what gravity is. We just know what it isn't on Earth, and that's useful enough to build stuff. And so my kind of challenge to people is I literally don't think there is a thing that is perfectly known on the planet.
Sure.
I think there are only things that are useful enough to use in day-to-day life. But I don't believe in the idea of like absolute
of
truth.
perfect. You don't believe in perfect knowledge. This is like classic.
Or if there is, no one has had it yet.
I understand.
Right.
I have an answer. Ricky, go.
Yeah.
I kind of like that way of thinking. I think there's something almost romantic about it. It's like the idea of like, there's always something else that we could learn about this thing.
Sure.
That's there's always something else. But as long as we understand it well enough to use it to our advantage and be,
and this is how scientists talk.
Yeah.
Scientists don't talk in terms of knowing stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
They just talk in terms
this
of
is what
usability.
we see,
yes.
and we can repeat this.
And the
we can
day
use
someone
this for this
refines it, write the new textbook.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah. Okay,
right.
go ahead, Steven.
So I think I agree with you guys, but I think that's nerd science loser shit.
Oh, definitely.
And
it is. I love it.
I'm more of an artistic approach. Remember when I forget the betrayers? I agree with you guys though. You're right. What's the betrayer who ate the steak in the Matrix?
Oh, I forget his name, but I know you're.
Yeah, that fucking rat. All right, when he eats the steak, is it real?
You mean King? That guy's eating steak for the rest of his life, baby.
Well, that's the question. The perfect knowledge, right? Like. For me, it boils down to, and I have an example I feel like I can stand by. For me, I can agree with you that not knowing something might be the more truth, but I think if you feel something, it is real. Even if it's wrong or not valid.
I think that feeling is real. But that feeling, it doesn't have bearing on the truth of the real world.
But you said earlier you don't believe in objective reality, right?
Oh, no, I don't think anyone has had it yet. If there is this objective truth, I don't think any person has cleanly gotten it all in one take yet.
Well, my view on that would be like, all right, if we can, I have a friend mentally ill, delusional, right? They see people in their house, they see all kinds of shit, they hear crazy shit. I can't say that's not real. It is from their perception, that shit is real. And I can prove it's real to them by how it makes them act or react, right? Like, I can agree there is no perfect knowledge.
Well, I would say this. But I could say this. They're feeling like a person is in their kitchen. That's true. But that person isn't in their kitchen and can't cook us eggs.
And I agree. And that's why without perfect knowledge, I think from an individual's point of view, all we're left with, all that we can fully trust, even if you're right that, we can't know, is that we believe that to be real, so it is real for ourselves. Maybe it's limited to ourselves, but like our own truth matters. I guess
what I meant to frame this through is usability, right? Okay. So if you say like, that what's real to me is real, what can you do with that knowledge, right? Because now once you need to do something with that knowledge... It depends on if it's actually real. Well, right. Once you have a goal in mind and you need to complete that goal, you need knowledge that's usable.
I agree.
So if the goal is to cook eggs, this hallucination in the kitchen ain't gonna cook those eggs, baby. No, and if it does, holy shit, I'm religious again. There's a ghost in the kitchen cooking eggs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
that's just like very foundational to me, is the idea that like no person has ever gotten at the truth so purely. And again, we talked about this a little bit a couple of Mondays ago, that like our bodies are not a perfect representation of what's going on outside of them. Like what we see isn't actually what's there. It's what our brain tells us is there, right? What we feel isn't actually what's there. And so, okay.
I think we're all on the same page on that one. Yeah.
Sure.
aesthetic differences.
I got a bunch of little stuff now. Is there anything you guys wanted to bring up, or should I just keep chipping away at little stuff?
I don't know, Steven, what other notes you got cooking over there?
Yeah, Steven, hit me with one, baby.
I had some.
The religion thing was my big one. Everything else is more fun.
I feel like that's one of the more fun ones to talk about and get into, at least.
Because I had some like counter stuff, more politics, but I love politics. But we're both less interested. I think it would be probably more fun if you continue with whatever.
Okay, let's take we'll do a palate cleanser. This one's just a good, clean, fun one. Do you guys know what the Monty Hall problem is?
I don't think so, no.
Steven?
I looked it up and then I forgot it, so.
Great.
Run it back.
This is a litmus test for my abilities as an educator and y'all's abilities as learners, and it goes both ways. It's embarrassing.
Are you actually an educator, or do you mean that colloquially, the word I can never say right?
Oh, yeah, I mean, I don't get paid to educate, I like to educate people, and I like to be educated. Yeah.
Understood.
I have an unfinished philosophy degree. I feel like that gets me halfway there.
That's close. It's more than I got.
Okay, but so the reason why I like this one so much is it took me 3 separate tries for it to click.
Yeah,
and
those
when
are
this
always
clicks,
fun.
it's like a fucking magic trick. And when it doesn't, the person explaining it, you're just looking at this person that can't understand this thing that to you is so black and white, but you knew you were on the other side of it, but you can't like relate to that moment because it's clicked for you now. And so it is this true divide of like, I either won't be able to relate to you in this moment or I will, and it's going to be a magic trick, and it's so fun to me. Okay, the Monty Hall problem is this famous game show that cracked this question in psychology to their extreme benefit. They rigged a game show in plain sight and made a ton of money. Okay, here's the question. So here's how the game show works. I'm just going to draw it out so I explain it correctly. It doesn't actually matter. You guys don't need to see my drawing.
Cool.
Okay, so the game show starts with traditional game show shit. At the beginning of the show, there are 3 doors. Behind one of those doors is a cash prize. Behind 2 of those doors is nothing. And so you pick a door, and then you can do a bunch of game show shit, and then whoever wins the game show at the end of the show is brought in front of their 3 doors. And they can risk it and keep the door that they've chosen at the beginning of the show and open that door, and whatever is behind it, they get, right?
I'm remembering this a bit now. Hell yeah.
Okay, and then the game show does something brilliant. He says, I'm even going to open one of the doors to show you one of the shit doors, so you don't choose that one. So we're all going to choose a door. You guys can do it. I'll secretly do this. Here, I'll redraw a new one.
Okay.
This is just going to be for fun now. We'll all do it. So Steven, choose a door. Richard, choose a door. 1 through 3. One of them has money.
I'll go
1.
left.
Okay. Also 1 then?
I said left.
Okay.
Whatever one. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
funny.
that would be 1 in my book. Okay, so you guys both have chosen door number 1. Perfect.
Okay.
I am going to, out of doors 2 and 3, I'm going to open door number 3 and show you there's shit behind it. So now you're left with door number 1 and door number 2. Now, do you guys switch doors or do you stick with your gut?
Sorry, I'm stick with my gut.
I'm forgetting too much. Honestly, these are like hard, like anything like math related at all of probability. I struggle
That's okay.
with.
Yeah.
We'll walk through it real slowly.
I forget the math thing, but it goes down to your percentage of if you change, you have a higher percentage now that they've shown you there's nothing behind that door.
You're getting to it. Yeah.
Thing. So I forget.
So you're supposed to change, but you can't remember why.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, Steven, is that kind of where you're at?
Honestly, I forget the setup enough to make it work in my head.
Okay, well, we'll speed run. So this is the thing. Everyone knows you're supposed to change, but it's hard to picture why.
Okay.
And I'm going to try to explain to you guys why it's so obvious to understand why you should change. Okay, in this moment...
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to ask...
I'll go through it again.
Can you remind me the rules of like how it's set up?
Yes, so the rules. At the beginning of the game, you choose doors 1 through 3. Okay. One of them has cash, the other 2 have shit.
Yes.
I then remove one of the choices and show you that there's shit. So in our example, I've removed door 3. I showed you there was shit behind door 3.
So now you know that there are 2 doors. Behind one of them is money. You already chose one of them, but you're allowed to switch if you want.
So now I'm going to ask you, do you want to switch doors or do you want to stick with your gut and open the door you chose at the beginning of the game?
Yeah, and to be clear, the one we chose wasn't opened. We just know it wasn't the shit.
Correct. Yeah. I'll never open the door you chose.
And in theory...
I'm always going to open one of the other 2.
In theory, it really shouldn't matter which one it shouldn't matter now if we switch or not, but I think it does for some reason.
Okay, brilliant. This is where everyone gets it. Feels like it's a 50-50 shot.
Right.
It is not.
It's the 1 in 3 still. right?
Right. This is the genius of the Monty Hall problem.
Yeah.
So if you think about it in this stage where you're left with 2 doors, it's a 50-50. Of course I'm going to stick with my gut if I have a 50-50. Yeah. The genius of the Monty Hall problem is this was never a 50-50.
It's still
because I was always planning on opening one of these doors. And so you have to reframe the question from the beginning. Instead, don't try to pick the cash. Because if you try to pick the cash, what's your odds of picking the cash 1 in 3?
It's just not to pick the shit, and it's always 1 out of 3. Yeah.
So if I ask you to pick the shit door, what are your odds of picking the shit door?
1 out of 3.
Okay, so let's assume we pick the shit door, which, by the way,
2 out of 3?
It's 2. If the money is 1 out of 3, the shit would be 2 out of 3.
Oh, right, that makes sense.
I thought there was. Yeah, correct. Sorry.
Okay, so by the way, both of you guys picked the shit door. So you have a 2 in 3 odds of picking a shit door at the start of the game.
Right.
Now I'm opening the other shit door, which means you have a 66% chance of switching to the money every time you play this game. And so the genius of this game is from the very beginning, it's a 66% odds that you will get the money if you switch. But people get to this stage where there's only 2 doors left and it's a 50-50, and people report being so mad if they switched and lost because they're like, I had a 50-50.
Yeah.
And the genius of the Monty Hall problem is reframing this to get to a 50-50. You had a better deal from the beginning if you just set in your heart, I'm going to pick the shit door, which I have a 2 in 3 odds, and then I'm going to switch to the money. That works every time, and it's amazing.
And I understand this in theory, but if I'm frank, it just, my brain, this shit does not click the right way.
Like, no, it's infuriating. It's infuriating. No. The simple heuristics we can boil this down to are, at the beginning of the game, you have a 1 in 3 chance to pick the money.
Right.
A 2 in 3 chance to pick shit.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
If you picked shit, you should switch.
Yep.
If you picked money, you should stay. And we know odds on you picked shit because it was 2 in 3.
Right.
That's it. That's the whole game.
Yeah.
I just think it's a fun game.
That is, yeah.
I feel like it's a good like math, like probability test, but am I correct that philosophically it doesn't inform us anything? Or am I missing something?
You could make I think you could make arguments about like it works super well because people feel like sticking up with their gut more.
That's part of it. Part of the genius of this to me, though, is the math is so obfuscated in the way the game is set up. And then once it's plainly laid out, it's so obvious.
Yeah.
And for some reason, this game show didn't occur to people this way. In fact, sorry, this is something I should have said at the beginning. The original person that wrote into this game show, he was like a math professor. He was like, hey, your guys' game show is stupid. Everyone should always switch.
Right.
It's a 2 in 3 odds. For years, math professors were like, no, it's not. It's a 50-50. He's like, what are you guys talking about? It's 1 in 3, 2 in 3. And it's like, no, at the point that you're switching a door, we know one of them's been removed. This was 50-50. This professor got into a years-long argument with the math community because they couldn't see it was 1 in 3, not 50-50.
That's funny.
It blows my mind.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But that's how effective this game show was at presenting this problem in a misleading way. It's brilliant.
Now, let me ask you do you have any strong opinions on Schrodinger's cat?
So here, I think quantum physics to me always gets a little squirrely. I don't think...
Agree.
I think most quantum physics is actually measurement errors. And Neil deGrasse Tyson has said this a little bit, that lots of classic quantum physics problems are actually just measurement errors.
Yeah.
So Schrodinger's cat isn't really
you're claiming,
real to the extent I understand
you're
it.
Claiming you don't have the data, enough data to make an informed decision?
I think that's what most people are saying now. So 20 years ago, we thought these quantum physics questions were magic tricks, right? We're like, oh my God, the cat's both alive and dead at the same time. Right. That breaks my brain.
Yeah.
And I think now the consensus is well, it's not.
We just
can't observe it in a way that runs. And so, it
kind of takes the fun out of it, though. Because
definitely.
I feel like the premise is that you don't have perfect knowledge or enough data, so you have to have a philosophical answer to address that.
Okay, so here's my big stance. If you don't have perfect data, you shouldn't answer. The responsible thing to do is to not answer.
I probably agree, but that's boring.
No, it's very boring. It's very boring. But what it is responsible. And talking to an ex-fervent Christian, I'm done with being irresponsible. I want boring, safe knowledge. Yeah, that's just super personal to me, right? I'm my biggest pet peeve with anyone on the planet is being irresponsible with your knowledge. I just think that's so dangerous. I don't have time for it.
I think that's a core of the comment I said earlier about Steven bullies me or whatever. Yeah. And it's no, it's that's part of it that's funny to me is because
you allow me to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You like it.
Yeah,
you fuck.
It's very. I'm at
Steven,
work.
do you know he has cuck written on his chair?
Yeah, it's part of.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I'll go to work for a couple days, and then I'll come home and hop on the line with Steven, and he's, we're just gonna freestyle it or something, or whatever. He's like, oh, I had this thought earlier today, and I'll bring it up later. And then it's like, okay, I had this shower thought earlier today, and I've spent the last 8 hours watching debates on both sides of this argument, and now I'm gonna throw this idea at you, and you need to make an informed decision now. And then when you do, I'm gonna tell you why you're wrong. And that's the funniest fucking thing, and I love it. I look forward to it. It's fucking hilarious.
I know if I go too far, Ricky will beat me up. So
yeah. I really do look forward to it, but I think it happened a lot more earlier on in our podcast where I would just like, I don't know.
Well, you didn't want to give.
I definitely still.
You didn't want to give you didn't want to play fast and loose with me, and I feel like I've pulled you out of your shell a little bit, and some of that might be not having enough data, but part of our goals is the expression part, and I think that it's okay to make some mistakes, within reason.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I didn't want to be on record having a strong stance on something I just learned about 15 minutes ago.
I get you.
And it had one perspective on.
This is the superpower of being Nathan. You just got to keep asking why. Yeah. Don't make a decision.
Very
keep
Socratic.
Asking why until you are fully on board with everything he learned 8 hours later.
That's what a lot of earlier episodes I think felt like. Yeah,
genius. That's what I do. That's all I do. Yeah.
Socratic method shit. Yeah.
Socrates is a genius, baby.
And I think now it's fun, to a certain degree of I can goof on an opinion at least, and as long as it's not something that I feel like is going to, backlash at me in any particular way. I could goof on an idea until it's just it's whatever. It doesn't really mean anything at the end of the day.
If you're never willing to be wrong, you just can't be right. And I feel like I had great advice from this is a schizophrenic man I grew weed with for a long time, and
that's a great start to this story.
He's a very very cool dude. He gave me 2 really good, excellent pieces of advice, but one of which was, hey, if you want to be the one in the room that's always right, all you have to do is accept you're wrong. As long as you quickly can understand you're wrong, you're always right. Sure. And that stuck with me.
Baby.
Because I like making mistakes. There's so many of these episodes I listen back to, and I'm like, holy fuck, this dude's stupid. And it's it's fun to be wrong sometimes. And then the other one was...
See, I'm just lucky I was so profoundly wrong early in my life, and it was made so obvious to me that now I'm like, I know I'm almost never correct.
Yeah.
If you can't show me where the thing I'm saying is wrong, I guess we both don't know. Maybe we'll just go with the thing I think. But I was so profoundly wrong so loudly when I was a Christian that now I'm like, I'm done with being confidently right. I'm just here to hash out the truth of the idea, right?
Well, maybe we can dive into that a bit. Do you feel like it took you too long to get out of the Christian bondage? I don't know, how old you were,
Yeah, I mean, let me get you specific. You tell me, I guess. I feel like I'm probably not a good judge of that because I like my life now.
Well, it's based on how you feel, though, right?
Yeah, I mean, it would be hard for me. I like my life now, and so it's I don't know how much meddling I would want to do in the past, because then maybe I wouldn't have the life I have right now. You know what I mean? But so I was extreme devout Christian, was going to be a youth pastor, then got interested in philosophy kind of really late in the game. So instead of following in my dad's footsteps, who's a pastor, I was like, oh, maybe I want to be a social worker instead. And then I started taking more philosophy classes, and I was almost out of religion at 18 and a half, 19. Then I met my now wife, who was part of this fundamentalist conservative missionary group, and so I blame her. She wrote me back in because she was like, hey, I'm not going to date a non-Christian. But I was like, oh, okay, I mean, I guess I'll start going to church. I mean, my family is already so Christian, and to me it was like, I'll go to church, that's fine. And then I got roped in for another couple of years. I don't have exact month but then I started the outs again, right? So I'm in this Christian group on a missions trip in Germany, and all of a sudden realizing we're the stupid ones here. It was
how old were you in Germany?
Oh boy, I would have been 19. I would have been 19 or 20. Again, all this happened in an 18-month. So my wife and I, got married within a year and a half. Because Christians, you move fast. You know, really, really fast.
Want to get the sex.
And so, oh, dude, of course, it's crazy.
I know, I remember. Yeah.
And so I'm on this mission trip in Germany with nobody. You meet everyone there, and you're told that God is going to connect you guys. So I'm with 20 people I've never met before in a country I've never been. It's long enough ago that I had a half an hour window and where I could communicate with people back in the States because it was too expensive to get a plan that worked all the time. So like at 11:30 at night, I could talk to people I knew. Other than that, that's it. I have 11:30 to midnight to communicate, and then I'm back isolated. So I like immediately, you know what I mean? Like full tunnel vision panic attack. I'm like, I don't want to be here. So I just started lying all the time, right? Christians are, again, we talked about this, but dumb, you can convince them of anything. So I was like, I think God wants me to like be alone. And they're like, that's amazing for you. I love that. And then I just started exploring Germany. I had like 2 hours every day where I was like, I think I really need like some alone time with God. And they're like crying, you know what I mean? They're like, that's so beautiful. And then I like go get a pretzel and I explore a park that's super cool. I was really into parkour at the time. So I would like climb, you know, walls and buildings and stuff. And I was honestly, once I made that decision, like I was halfway through the trip, then the trip was like rad as hell. Because I just realized
God wants me to go over to Amsterdam for
100%. I think God has told me that my penis can convert this prostitute's vagina. And I think really this is missions work, guys. But no, there was
they call it missionary for a reason. You have to go.
There was a guy in Germany that like really changed the trajectory of my life. I was with this like super Christian. He was like the man. Everyone was like, this guy is like the best at convincing people. And we were doing missions work together. So how that meant is we go to colleges and we ask if anyone wants to talk. And then we just try to bring up religion. We try to convert them. It was crazy. We're all so dumb. And so there was this, you know, like probably philosophy student German person who talked to us for like half an hour and was getting so into it. And the person I was with was older. So he was really, I mean, just think of like a MAGA Republican. Mm-hmm. The ideas he's saying are so stupid. Yeah. And this German philosophy student was loving it, right? And so I was watching this debate happen between the two of them, and I fully sided with the German kid on every point. I was like, oh my God, he's right. Oh my God, this guy is stupid. Like the one thing he said was, he, you know, brought up something about how like books are written by the victors. So books of like history may not contain.
They're written by historians.
Right. And so I was like, well, the Bible's like the divine word of truth. What do you mean? And he's like, well, no, every book is just like written by an author. And I was like, what? Like, so you don't think like the German history book is true? He's like, no, it's an account of German history that's probably super wrong. And that like shook me to my core. I was like, they're supposed to say yes to that question. He said no. And so this guy like really shook me.
That's a classic answer, bro. Like people use that all the time. It's so frustrating. It's like,
and so anyway, so then I go to my family with this, obviously. And so I had a bunch of philosophical reasons for why God was evil. And like, obviously none of those can be true. And so I went to my family with my first ever reason, which is pretty easy to see now. I was like, in the Garden of Eden, right? Satan convinces them to eat the apple. Right. But I was like, where was God? Why did God give them like alone time with Satan? Certainly that seems like really victim blaming.
Why is God allowing them to be tempted?
Right. Yeah. So I was like, guys, is God like victim blaming Adam and Eve here? And they were like, that's evil. You can't ask that question. So immediately what I did was I went and asked two of my atheist friends that question. And they're like, oh, 100% he's evil. And so instead of talking to my family because they called me evil, I just went and talked to my atheist friends for like 6 months, slowly worked my way out of religion. And then I tried telling my wife this. And that started like a 6-month period of like, she was like, I don't know if we could be married. And that was like a crazy hard time. That's every week was like a panic attack. And then eventually she made her way out of religion. And then like 6 months later was like, hey, I don't think I'm religious anymore. Now we should talk about it. Because she didn't want me to convince her. She's like, you know, again, like an intelligent person and was like, hey, I don't want you to convince me. I need to think about this myself. And so looking back at it, it's like,
good for her.
Yeah.
And after 6 months, she was like, I actually think we could talk about it now because I think I'm like pretty close to being out. And then we like slowly worked both of ourselves the rest of the way out.
That's very cool.
But so I don't know. Did that take too long? I don't know.
No.
Probably a little bit too long.
Now.
Probably a little bit.
Yeah, right. You definitely. Yeah.
But you got there, and it sounds like you're much better for it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Again, actually, something I throw back at Christians a lot is in the New Testament, you read a lot about how, like, once you become a Christian, like, you're going to breathe for the first time and you're going to experience, like, how great it can be to be alive. Mm-hmm. That feeling I got day one of being an atheist, and I was like, oh my God, that's hilarious. Yeah. I was like, wait, everything they're saying will happen when you're a Christian happened to me now and I'm an atheist. I'm like, that's all the proof I need, baby.
Just curious.
I was like, I can finally breathe.
Just curious, as someone else who left faith, and I'm sure there's a ton of similarities, but I do think Catholics tend to be more like guilty and shamey. Was it?
Oh, 100%. Well, it's different. I think it's different.
Was it like
the group I was part of was sex is the shameful thing, everything else is fine.
Yeah.
Catholics have a lot more like rules-based
internal,
shame.
Or just like inherently, you're just bad. Do you feel?
Yeah.
Was it for me, it was very damaging and hard to leave for even after I left for like a long time. Was that tough?
Oh yeah. Again, like my wife for 6 months didn't know if she could divorce me or not.
Yeah.
I tried talking to my parents about it. Just several crying arguments later, we like have decided not to talk about it anymore.
Yeah.
But one of my family members told me that they promised God to give me like their into heaven and they're gonna go to hell instead. And after they told me this, I straight up looked at them. I'm like, that's stupid. I'm gonna reject it. We'll both be in hell. And they just started sobbing.
Oh no!
Oh yeah.
That's such a level.
It was and is extremely hard, but it's worth it to me. And so, talk to me like 3 years ago, I would be where you guys were. I was the angriest ex-Christian of all time. Mm-hmm. I was like, kill them all, burn it all down. Now I've seen that is just something Christians love. And so, back to my original critique. Now I'm like, I realize that honey catches more flies than vinegar.
I don't
but
disagree.
I've also had distance from it.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I mean,
like one of my Christian friends, I won't say his name, he loves just being told that Christianity is stupid because he gets a chance to defend it.
Yeah.
When you're much more benign about it, and
that's
you're
a
just
righteous
like, hey, this
thing.
thing's stupid.
They get to defend their...
Of course.
And I understand. I don't feel like, for me, it's a factor of time and distance. It's just... I feel like to do anything outside of what I am would be very dishonest. And I think some of that is like personality or just who we are or whatever. But I wish more people felt like me.
Yeah. I also think for me, something very empowering is like minimizing the effect of Christian ideas on me.
Sure.
So for me, like being angry at a Christian idea gives that Christian idea power. It's much more empowering for me to laugh at it and just be like, that's stupid as hell.
Sure.
And I think that's probably more embarrassing for the Christian to hear. Like, if they say something and you get mad, it's in the Bible that they're mad because they know you're right. Mm. If you're like, no, that's dumb as hell, bro, that's not in the Bible anywhere. You know what I mean? They're like, no, I'm not dumb as hell. I'm really smart. I read the Bible. And you're like, nah, you're dumb as hell. So that, to me, is more effective, I think.
Fair.
Yeah.
Okay, what else we got? I got some like real specific things. Like we could talk about gender, we could talk about guns, we could talk about politics if you guys want. But where do you guys think?
We're hitting a 2 hour mark. What are you feeling?
I got some legs.
Got some legs, Richard. How are you feeling?
I'm good too. I just want to make
Let's
sure.
do a Richard topic. Give me a topic. So I was just scrolling through. I think it's on here.
All right.
But for me, I think the fun ones for me because I feel like I have very well articulated points about these. Because again, I took some gender studies classes, so I thought about it a lot. I'm really passionate about gender not being real. And I also think I'm really passionate as a parent that I don't care if guns are good or bad, but they're killing so many people in this country that like we need a solution. And so I kind of put it on the gun owners to figure out how to not kill my kid when they go to school. And the idea of just no regulation, everyone gets a gun. I have no more space for that because what we're getting with that is school shootings. So that I think is something else I like talking about.
I'll throw this out. We probably mostly agree on gender, sex stuff. Maybe there's some small difference, but I'd imagine we're probably pretty close. I feel like I understand your point about guns, but I feel like it's clearly a way bigger problem than just like a irresponsible gun owner problem. Like this is like societal shit. And I would rather live in a world where I have that freedom, where I can't be infinitely bullied and I get to make decisions about my
Who's
my
infinitely
autonomy.
bullying you? Sorry. No one's infinitely. It's very finite. One bully. You can't have a gun. That's very finite.
No, in the world without guns, you have the potential to be infinitely bullied.
No, because we have police. Police will...
Well, I mean...
We're going to give all the violence to the state and then let the state adjudicate, right? Isn't that the idea of a government?
Yeah, I don't have the trust in the state to that extent to give all of my security and protection to the state. I would never do that.
I think so. Nathan and I were talking a little bit about this before we started recording. Of like, I forget.
He said you were really stupid. I couldn't believe.
Yeah, I forget which episode it was in recently where we were talking about gun stuff, and we were talking about one that I think the idea of everyone having a gun shouldn't be an issue. But the problem is, I just don't trust everyone else enough to understand them like handling. give everyone the access and freedom to handle a weapon in the same way that I do.
Sure. And both of us are probably for some gun restrictions, but
yeah, I guess let me state it this way. Clearly, some people can't handle guns and are doing mass shootings. Yes. I am just a proponent of no mass shootings. Yes. I don't care about guns. I just don't want mass shootings.
But most of the people doing mass shootings, the restrictions aren't going to help. We both know
How do
that,
other
right?
countries not have mass shootings?
They don't have the
question,
guns.
I don't know the answer.
They don't have the access.
No, that's not true. Sweden has more guns per capita than America.
It's but I agree. There are a bunch of social things that change it. But I'm saying I'm less concerned about the guns themselves as the mental illness, the sickness, the economic reasons that drive these things to happen. And I agree, like places like Sweden also have differences in the culture around guns, but they don't have a lot of those problems that manifest the way they do here. Where
they also have gun regulation. They also have strict gun regulation.
I understand.
It's really hard to get a gun in Sweden, and it's really regulated on how you use that gun. And they all see that as like a huge public good. Because
responsibility, yeah. I understand, but for me, I just, the focus
It's wild to me that gun owners don't want gun regulation. I feel like to protect your ability to have a gun, you should be the utmost proponent of regulating that, so stupid people don't ruin it for you.
I agree with that,
but we don't
disagree. In the way of like,
okay, sure.
The idea of like, even like driving, like, it's the same way of
you
like,
should have to retake that test every 6 months,
exactly.
dude. Oh my God.
There's cognitive tests that you should have to pass.
Yeah, dude.
Like, there's a certain way of like.
Here's a big one: being a parent.
Can I ask the real question? Can I ask the real question? Because I think maybe I do.
I thought I was asking the real question, but ask me your question.
No, I think maybe we do differ between the three of us here. Is like, what trade-off are so like one of my big philosophy things, like idealism, rejection, art shit. Like, I want maximal freedom with minimal suffering. But I am willing to honestly trade a fair bit of like suffering or like school shootings to have freedom. And I don't like when the conversation is like, oh, everything needs banned. We don't deserve freedom. We can't have it because other people are going to do fucked up shit.
No, I'm with you.
And I agree. Like, there are responsibilities and there are a lot of restrictions I probably agree with. But I don't like, not that you're doing this, but I don't like in general where a lot of people on my side politically want to get rid of my freedoms. And I feel like
so I think your freedom is overweighted in the collective, and I would probably not care about your stance on having more freedom. I think you have too much freedom. I'm okay giving up some of my freedom. I don't understand why people aren't, right? If the result is mass shootings, I'm okay giving up my freedom to own a gun so no kid gets shot. And the people who think their freedom is more important than the life of a child, I think that's fucking crazy.
Well, I might be able to agree with that, but I mean, that type of math of like, oh, a kid can get hurt because people had freedom. I mean, you can justify any tyrannical rule for that. I mean, there has to be...
No, because again, Richard and I were talking about this off pod. We're not going to go straight to tyrannical rule. This is where I think philosophy bros get too ahead of themselves. I think I'm talking purely specifically about right now. So if your answer to no mass shootings is complete police state, I would say, I don't want complete police state.
Which it would not be my answer, for sure.
Great. And so I think we need to not get caught up in a slippery slope here where we're like, we regulate one gun and it's a police state. I think right now we have too much freedom. I'm not talking about cranking the dial up to 11. I'm talking about shifting the dial half a tick. I think a little less freedom for no mass shootings is worth it.
I might agree with you
for that.
But
that's crazy.
I might agree with you, but I don't understand why that's your focus. Why isn't the focus on like mental health stuff instead of gun access?
Oh no, it is. We talk about mental. It is. So I think again, this is another thing. I would love to talk about mental health stuff. I think that's a big contributor. So I'm just focusing on guns. I was a social worker for a couple of years. It is crazy how underfunded mental health is. So in Michigan, I was a direct care worker. I got per diem for my clients. So that's just money that the company gives you to spend on them because they realize a lot of these people, right, need some help. I got $75 a client per month of money that I had to show my receipts to get reimbursed, but I was allowed to just get that money from the company and spend it on that kid. So that's going to a movie. That's going surfing. I don't know. We don't live in a place where you can surf. But whatever, right? Doing a fun thing.
Real quick. Mics are cutting out. Is that an internet Discord issue, or is that a...
that's a Discord issue.
Okay, just checking. Sorry, continue.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got $75 of per diem. The first year I worked there, the second year I worked there, I got cut to $50. The third year I worked there, I got cut to $25. And also inflation is happening, so that money is going less far. So it got to the point where like it was embarrassing to try to use the per diem. Because if we wanted to go out to dinner, I had to buy my own dinner out of my paycheck.
Sure.
Because the per diem wasn't covering both of our meals. And it's like, so I just tell him like, hey, we actually can't go there because I can't afford to like go out to this nice dinner. I know you have $25 of per diem and that'll cover your meal. I have to like eat before and sit here and watch you drink water. Like I'll drink water. It's crazy. And so that's just like one example. But no, I think let's not get caught up in extremes here. I want gun regulation and mental health regulation, but I want both and I want to talk about both. So let's not talk about guns and use mental health as a cudgel there. Let's talk about both.
That's fair. I just think the issues with gun shooting, school shooting, it's just so overblown compared to everything else that happens. The amount of suffering from mental health in general makes the amount of deaths from innocent gun shootings just so small. And it has to, like, you want to be max effective on like God shit. I feel like with gun shit, max effective is addressing mental health stuff as the primary thing.
Sure, you could be right there, but I think one thing you're maybe not weighing is like the fear mass shooting causes affects millions of people for the 20 people that it killed.
That might be true, but I think it's
don't know if we can afford homeschool, but I genuinely don't want my kids to go to public school because I'm afraid that they'll get shot.
I would say that's incredibly irrational.
Yeah, I mean, it could be irrational, but the fear I'm experiencing every day is real. I can't get that to stop.
I don't know where you're at, but unless you're at a place where this is happening often, where kids are dying from walking home.
Michigan,
it has, yes. There's been multiple in our area.
There's
been one, so I'm a pizza delivery driver. There was one morning where a cop flew by my car going like a trillion miles an hour. It was crazy. 10 seconds later, another cop. 10 seconds later, another. This happened for the whole police squad. It was like 30 cops. So I got back to the school being like, what the fuck is going on? And then we found out the high school near us just had a mass shooting and there were kids running through the like one of my coworkers texted me, there are kids screaming running through the subdivision because there's a mass shooting happening right now.
This is irrational.
Every person I work with, because they're of this generation, went to that school and they were all part of that mass shooting.
That is irrational, though. I'm glad I prefaced because maybe it is bad enough. There are other things that you just didn't have time to say, or there's other stats or whatever. But realistically, how many kids out of the million in the area had died from school shootings? I mean, it's low.
I'm not saying I would bet money on the fact that my kid is going to get shot in a mass shooting.
Well, that's a good test. I mean,
I live with fear that my fellow neighbors are going to there will be a mass shooting this year. There will be, and I'm afraid for those people.
That's life in the big city, baby.
But we don't have to make that life in the big city. We can do something about like other countries do.
I'm not opposed to that, but I'm not going to fucking homeschool because of it.
I can also give grace to the idea of that when it is your kid, or like I can see that being like any percent, whether or not you're willing to bet money on it or not. Yeah, any percent is much more of a pushing factor.
You think your kid's more special than my kid?
Chance risk that my kid does.
You think your kid's more special than my kid? My kid's going to be out here fucking tanking bullets every day. Bulletproof vest, 4-plate steel. My kid's going to grow up strong as fuck because he's not going to be scared of bullets.
He drives the Killdozer to school every day.
Richard Keaton, exactly. I would not take a 1% chance that my kid would.
Well, I would gamble with my child's life. Okay.
Well, no, but I'm saying if the odds are 1% that my kid dies in a school shooting, I'm homeschooling.
I'll take that bet all day.
I'm saying that 1% is too big of a risk.
Yeah.
I'll take that bet as long as I got my 15 AR-15s. Fuck no.
Okay, I can tell. I can tell. It's different when it's your own kid, man. You just can't take the risk. And so now I'm in the position of I have to figure out how to afford homeschooling. That affects me. That's a direct effect.
That's a big lump.
To my bottom line.
A big leap. There's a lot of things you'd lose with homeschool. I'm not saying it's always bad, but I think the fear is overstated.
No, I'm saying we're too poor to homeschool. We're too poor to homeschool. Both of us have to work.
Okay, gotcha. Understood.
Neither of us make enough money. Yeah. I'm not saying I would love to homeschool. Are you kidding me? If my wife made enough money that I didn't have to work, nothing would make me happier than homeschooling my kids.
Don't you know how many homeschool kids come out tweaked as fuck?
Well, again, the only reason we're talking about homeschool is to avoid a mass shooting. Right.
Because of very, very low % chance of a mass shooting.
There are so many mass shootings that happen.
There are not that many. How many people? How many kids die a year compared to the millions that are in school? It's really low. And most gun violence, this is like real shit. Most is like gang shit. Like most gun deaths are not innocent children to going to school. It's very, very low. I'm not saying it shouldn't be a risk or shouldn't be a concern, but it's just not what, unless you're in an area where it's happening all the time, it's not a risk.
We're going to state this plainly. Kids dying in school shootings is something I don't want and I'm willing to fix.
Yeah, no, I get it.
You don't think it matters, and you don't want to fix it. That's fine.
That's not what I said.
Okay, well, you're arguing for gun shootings right now by telling me they're not that likely.
No, I'm arguing that they're not that likely.
Okay, great. I don't care how likely they are. The fact that they happen.
But you're saying they're so likely you want to reorganize your life in ways that I don't think make sense. And I'm not.
Well, I'm saying they're likely enough. They're likely enough that I think about this with my kid.
So on a,
you shouldn't think about it, but...
on a cursory Google search, 233 school shootings in K through 12 schools in 2025.
That's crazy.
Several other shootings
not
at
that
colleges
crazy.
and universities. That's
other countries have 1 or 0.
That's more than one for every day that school was in session.
There's only 50 states. That means every state had divided by 50. Every state had 4.3 school shootings.
How many millions of kids are there? I mean, like,
again,
I feel like you're misunderstanding. I'm not saying.
Why are you arguing for mass shootings?
Because you want to take something from me. Like, not you specifically, but people
why
argue
are you
that,
so important that no one can take something from you? Why
because
are you so
I
important?
want to grant people maximal freedom, and I don't like because other people do something
maximal
bad.
Maximal freedom is not a school shooting. You have to, like, we were talking about this, we'll rope you in, because we were talking about this before the pod started. There is no such thing as maximal freedom. Right?
That is
here's the bell curve.
Completely irrelevant. We're talking about what's real and what's not, right? I mean...
Right. So here's the bell curve. Are you
going to get rid of drugs too? I can't do drugs because kids die?
I actually think decriminalize all drugs. I'm a big proponent.
Well, I agree with that, but why don't you think of guns that way? Maybe they shouldn't be legal and licensed, but they could be decriminalized or something.
No, I'm putting the onus on you as a gun owner. Stop mass shootings.
You don't know if I'm a gun owner. I just like freedom.
Are you a gun owner?
I'm not saying on this podcast.
Are you a gun owner?
I own a million guns.
I'm actually fine with, like, lots of my family owns guns and I shoot them and it's very fun.
I don't like telling other people what they can and can't own. It's that simple to me.
Well, I think you don't agree with the essence behind that statement. I think you are okay with sometimes people being told what they can and can't do.
Very minor.
Sometimes you're not.
Like, if I want to dig, if I want to mine ore in my backyard and build a fucking gun,
he loves this one.
I should be allowed
Listeners
to.
on the pod, this is a gold mine for Steven. He loves this example.
You can't stop me, bro. I'll build as many fucking guns as I want.
Okay, but sorry, they've heard that example. I've heard that example. Let me ask you this question: in the business world, right? This is straight out of the mouth of Alina Khan, right? Smart business person, I would argue.
Wait, Alina Khan?
She says. Yeah, the former FEC chair.
Yeah. She's good.
Okay, so she was talking on a podcast. She was saying that this idea that, like, capitalism is a free market doesn't exist. It's a fiction. In fact, capitalists want you to think that a free market is possible. And so here's the example. If you have a total free market and anyone's allowed to do anything with no consequences, complete freedom.
It's the same thing as freedom of speech. If everyone's yelling, nothing can be heard. I understand.
No, not that. No, not that. That's not what I'm saying. If I have complete freedom to do whatever I want, I'm going to go to my competition and kill them.
Yes.
And now I am the only person selling my thing.
That is what I said.
I now have one. Well, okay, but so we all agree that is a restriction we want to put on your freedom.
There are limits. There's no true ultimate freedom, but my level of what I want freedom for myself, I'm willing to make sacrifices that others aren't.
Okay.
Yes.
You're willing to bear the cost of children being shot in
Yes, fuck them. It's such a small percentage. Fuck them.
I think that makes you an incredibly stupid, small-minded, selfish person. Great. We agree. You're an incredibly dumb, small-minded, selfish person.
How about I just skip this step? How about I just skip this step and start gunning them down myself? How about that?
No, okay. We agree. So I would say that's fine.
Jesus, fuck.
It's crazy to me that you're okay with that.
I'll take my RPG in one hand, my AK in the other, and we'll just do a little popular...
you don't feel sad when you hear there's another school shooting?
Bro, there's so much other shit in the world. It is a small percentage. Of course I care.
Yes or no? That's
of course, yeah, I know, okay. I do care, but I don't, every time I hear a tragedy, decide how I'm going to change everything for everyone else. I think it should be much more measured...
Your stance.
Ask again? Sorry?
No, I agree. Yeah, we can't. wind ourselves up to oblivion every time something like this happens.
Yeah.
Also, again, because it happens so much.
Right.
I would argue we should live in a world where we could do that because they're so infrequent. It's an absolute tragedy that in this country we can't think about every mass shooting because there are too many of them. That's fucking evil.
Going back to your argument earlier, I feel like the smart approach is to directly look at mental health things opposed to gun things.
Sure.
Like I'm willing to interlock on this with you for sure. I want the
also the smart approach to be not say fuck the kids, kill them, I'll do it myself. Is that maybe not the smartest
because
approach?
I'm expressing myself because I find when the focus is on like these poor stupid kids can't dodge bullets.
Yeah, who doesn't love watching an 8-year-old beg for his life? Come on,
fuck them, bro. I'm not willing to just give up like real solutions because kids die.
Okay, but I also think your freedom, I don't care about your freedom enough when it...
That's fine, but I would protect your... Apparently, I protect your freedom a lot more than you protect mine.
I don't want you to.
I'm basically a soldier. Giving you rights. I'm giving you rights.
Protecting my freedom.
I'm giving you rights you don't even appreciate.
Yeah, I would give them up. I would say I don't want these rights.
That's fine, but you can't expect everyone else to be that way. Altruism, like one of your questions,
I can't expect everyone else to be a smart
selfish ethics.
But there's two. I know I am a perfect selfish ethicist, and I think I don't like mass shootings so much that I don't want guns because I think that will lead to no mass shootings.
That sounds
and so
a little selfish.
I don't want mass shootings. It is. No, I don't want mass shootings for me. They make me feel bad. When people
they make you feel so bad you want to take things from other adults.
Yeah, of course.
Cool.
I think there's a key,
and the adults who want to keep those things are children.
I want to interject. I think there's the key component of this conversation that is being skipped over, and the idea of like, okay, let's say everyone is asked to, or we all do a vote, we all come to a consensus, and we're all going to give up our guns. Sure. Legally, you're not allowed to own a gun.
Not all give up our guns, but start regulating.
He wants to take our guns. He wants to take our guns.
Start regulating the use of guns. Again, no one is saying take every gun. That's impossible.
Then we can say.
Regulate.
Yeah,
regulate.
Right.
Safely regulate.
Here's the real answer. If there's a good enough study,
can you mute him? Sorry, Richard. Can you talk about this?
Go ahead.
Let me jump this in.
Go ahead.
So let's do that. Where everyone is. We regulate gun ownership. Mm-hmm. So whatever that looks like, there's a percentage of the population maybe that is no longer able to buy a gun. Does that concern with going to people who already own guns and saying that actually you don't fit the criteria of not being able to own a gun? How do we make that decision? How do we make that call?
Yeah.
There's a part of if you let's say so you can't buy a gun, but someone gives you a gun. Whose responsibility is that to police that or stop that person from then owning a gun?
Sure.
I think there's.
Well, let me ask you this too. Let's get back to the mental health thing. I would ask, what's your idea for wanting the gun? So if we all want guns for fun reasons, like hunting or target practice, great. If you think you need a gun for safety, let's address the safety concern.
Sure.
Why do you feel so unsafe you think you need a gun? That to me would be...
Because I live in the hood and everyone has guns, bro.
Yeah, okay, so that to me is the bigger concern.
Yes, I agree. And that's why I don't want to address it by saying, hey, let's start taking guns from people. I understand, like, if there's a study like, hey, we make X amount of changes that affect these things and it can take deaths down by 10%, I'm going to sign on the dotted line for a lot of that shit. But when the conversation always starts, what freedom can we take away, opposed to what help can we give people to their communities that help address these underlying needs of violence, danger, whatever, I want to go that way. I just don't get why the focus isn't always that path over taking shit from people.
I think you're probably listening to dumb people about this. Bro, I think the people I listen to about
anyone on the left is dumb as fuck on this shit. Like, it's
a lot of people on the left are dumb as fuck. Yeah, no, I agree with you. Actually, a lot of people turn their brains off on the left when it comes to gun violence.
Agreed. The left needs to give up on guns. The right needs to give up on abortion, and there could be a lot more interlocking.
Let's not take dumb people's ideas into consideration and let's call them dumb for those ideas.
You started with it, though. You started with the freedom opposed. You started with the let's take shit way. That's the right.
Again, I'm okay with if the choice is taking away guns so no kid dies. I'm okay with that. If you come up with a better nuanced solution, I'd sign that one. But I'm just saying, in principle, personal freedom to own a gun is not higher than kids getting shot in my mind. I think kids getting shot is higher.
You don't live where I live.
And I have a kid. So there we go. We don't.
Yeah. So we're both risking each other's lives.
See, actually, wait a second. I kind of did live for a little bit. I lived.
Nah, bro. No shot.
I'll actually ask Richard about this. Maybe he knows. So I lived like in a very unsafe place in Detroit for 3 years. Or no, not 3. Maybe it was only a year and a half. But either way, I slept in the attic. My brother worked at a charity. They had a house. I slept in their attic for $150 a month. There was a regular prostitute corner that like you would see prostitutes at. Heard gunshots more than once.
More than once?
I don't know if it's just a...
I was going to say...
Bro, I'm exaggerating, but this like every day,
I will say...
But,
the idea
sure, okay,
of,
but maybe this is a quirk with me.
The crime rate in Cincinnati is actually, I don't know what it currently is, but I know it growing up, the crime rate in Cincinnati was worse than it is in Detroit right now.
Sure. Okay, but maybe this is a quirk with me.
But it's all
I
irrelevant.
would rather get shot and die than shoot someone and kill them.
That's crazy to me. That's really dumb.
I don't think so.
And I think that's fine for you to be that way. That's like altruistic, cool. I don't feel that way. I'll kill anyone that tries to harm me. Fuck that shit, bro.
I think
I wouldn't be here.
No,
fucking
I would rather not get shot also. I would rather shoot someone than get shot.
The reality is like, my situation now, my place is like way better. It's still like pretty fucking rough, but it's by far the safest place I've ever lived. But there's millions and millions of people that do rely on it. Like, I don't give a fuck about hunting.
Feel you. I think, again, dual purpose. I think we need to fix those situations, but I also think...
that's the focus, though. Keep the focus there.
Sure. But like the shooting in my area wasn't in a dangerous place. It was just a crazy person that took a gun.
But we're talking realistic solutions. There's more guns than people. We can't like buy back everything quick enough. Like, this is a long-term thing.
Oh, we definitely could. But yeah,
there is not the political will. That will never
sure. There's not the political will, but the money exists. We could buy back everything for sure.
I guess. But there's a lot of...
That we could do for sure.
The reality is like...
I mean, look at how much money we give the defense budget. If we decided to turn that inward and buy back all the guns, we'd buy them back in like a day.
No, we would not. People do not want to give them up.
Yeah, we will. How much money? How many guns are there? Google this. Right
there's
now.
More
than guns are in America?
More than people.
That's not that many people in America. You don't know how much money we give to the defense budget.
There's more guns than people, and people don't want to give them up.
500 million guns. We give
no. This is really
over
dumb.
$1 billion.
This is totally irrelevant and dumb.
I just want to do the math on how long it would take us to buy back all the guns. It would not take us that long.
That assumes people want to sell them.
That's fine.
That's all saying.
Again,
people do
I'm not talking about the will. I know, I'm not talking about the will. You just brought up the money. I just think the money is there, is all I'm saying.
Well, there's money there for anything, as long as you want it bad enough. I mean,
yeah, that's fine. I can't change people's political will, but the money exists to buy them all back.
Like
that's
you said, if we want to be effective, right? Like, maybe I'm willing to try to be more effective politically than like on strictly religious stuff. But
how much money would I have to offer you per gun for you to sell them?
I would not.
What if I gave you $100 million per gun? You'd sell them and you'd move to a better area.
Maybe, but it's on principle. But it's just so irrelevant.
You wouldn't take $100 million per gun?
You're on principle.
No, you're Mr.
My principles are not worth that much. I would go buy a gun and sell it for $100 million.
Apparently, your principles are flimsy as fuck, because you're a Mr. No hypothetical. It's too extreme.
No,
Here you are offering to pay me.
I was waiting for somebody.
Offering to pay me millions. Like, bro, that's not the real world.
But here's why I bring up this hypothetical. So you would clearly take $100 million per gun. What's the number you would take? Could we get that to a sensible number? Maybe this is a real solution worth talking about. I don't know.
It's not a real solution worth talking about.
It seems like it could be.
You know it's not. A real solution worth talking about is how we address...
It sounds like it could be a real solution.
Your voice betrays you.
Wait, hold on. We got to pause.
Your voice betrays you.
This is direly severe. We have to pause. This is something I'm always going to stop us for this. I'm not lying. I never will lie to you guys. If you think I'm going to lie,
sounds like you're lying.
Yeah, for sure. Let's just stop right now, though. If you're saying like you don't actually think that, you're not trying to understand.
But it's not realistic, and I think maybe you don't want to say that.
We don't have to get down this rabbit hole, but we're looking at the numbers. It is realistic to buy all the guns back. That's just a fact. If we want to crunch the numbers right now live on the pod, we can. I'm telling you,
you're assuming it on one factor. Money isn't the only factor that affects people.
I agree. But money is licked. We got that one licked. That's all I'm trying to say, is that the money is there. So if we created the political will...
The money...
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Okay.
I also would...
Let's go back to more lies.
I would also say I think the problem is people are not going to want to sell their guns back. If you start throwing out fuck you money, then that changes things, but also that's going to prevent people from if people catch winds that, oh, that's happening. If you say no, they're going to offer you more money.
Sure.
There's a weird bartering system.
I think a lot of people are going to take the money way sooner than
there's a whole system in there that's fucked up.
Sure.
Number one. Number two, I think that there is more to be said about it's not a gun ownership problem solely.
It's a symptom of a problem. It's not the problem.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
The problem is the problem started.
Why do we want to shoot our schools and kill people?
I agree.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, I just want that to be the focus more.
When we decided everyone has a gun,
yeah.
It's like that sounds cool in 1800s or whatever.
Yeah.
But suddenly now it's a different beast. It's a different population.
Yeah, muskets are a lot harder to do in mass shooting.
Guns are different.
Hey,
it's a crazy.
Kirk
it's a different
was
animal.
a bolt rifle, bro. Like
Steven, here's my real take. I think that to me it seems like it would be faster to regulate guns pretty harshly at first. As well as day one of doing that is put the money into mental health. Once we see real mental health outcomes, restrict the gun restrictions. That's my actual take. I could be wrong about it, but that to me seems like it would work.
And I was grandstanding to make a point on what I thought, how I thought your approach is
children.
bad.
You want to personally shoot them. I got
yes,
you.
of course. But I feel like there's a crucial misunderstanding of how half the country that I don't consider myself a part of in the least feel about their guns, and I feel like we just need more effective or genuine approches.
Yeah, more nuance. I think more nuance is always the answer.
Yeah.
Always. Yeah,
We're probably in agreement, but hamming it up.
Yeah.
Okay, what else? Someone hit me with a topic. It doesn't have to be on the list, too. It could be
Is a hot dog a
Oh, I hate this so much. I hate this so much.
You just united us, bro.
I think... go ahead, Steven. What do you like this?
No,
Steven
I'm
won't
good.
even.
I'm good.
I don't even think Steven's even wants to weigh in on it.
I think this is an important. Are you guys proscriptive or descriptive when it comes to language? I think this is why I put that on there.
One of those questions.
The difference.
Go ahead.
Say it again.
Explain the difference.
Yeah. Okay. So descriptive means language is real and words have actual meaning, and you can be wrong about those meanings. Proscriptive is language is a tool we've created and it changes a lot. And so if a bunch of people are using a word in a different new way, that's not wrong. That's just how that word works now.
I think I prescribe to that.
Yes. And so, for example,
is
the first
chair
version,
really a chair? Yeah.
Well, yeah, and the first version of language was like a tool of British monarchy to essentially show peasants that they're stupid and dumb because they can't use the king's English. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, these peasants are just evolving the British language. And so it's actually the stupid aristocrats who needed to realize their language was outdated. But instead they codified it, created like the Oxford Dictionary. We teach grammar in schools to this day. And so I think like that is a hot dog. It's like, if you ask me for a sandwich, I bring you a hot dog, and you'd be like, I said sandwich. And I'm like, well, hold on. Now I'm like, okay, shut up. It's whenever we're using the word to mean.
Sure.
Yeah.
I tend to agree, like collectively.
Like soup cereal. If you ask for a bowl of soup and I bring you Lucky Charms, you're going to be so pissed.
Yeah, but I think the next layer of the onion is it's whatever whoever says what it is,
correct.
like what they truly
Yeah. Every language for every language speaker there is a language essentially.
Sure.
What were your thoughts on moral intuition? Because I had stuff about that. If you want.
Yeah, you guys talk about this a lot.
It's my Easter egg. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I want you to explain what moral intuitions are, and then I'm going to call you dumb.
Okay.
So go ahead.
I got a couple paragraphs. Moral intuition is the gut.
It sounds very Christian to me. Sorry, I just interjected.
It is,
but it sounds like in the Christian world, moral intuitions are everywhere.
Yes,
and so this one it blew my mind that you use it so much
because God wrote it on their heart, and they have the. Yeah, I understand, and I've stolen it from these presuppositions.
Very Sam Harris of you. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I believe moral intuition to be the gut trust in determining right and wrong. Moral intuition has become a bit of an ethics cheat code. That's because it's very often abused, particularly by dishonest bad actors, as it's difficult to combat someone else's moral intuition. But I do get to use the term honestly, as it's perfectly in line with my beliefs because, and we didn't get into this as much earlier, but it's a big part of both, I think, me and Ricky's beliefs, but I believe that I am my own God and master. So I trust my moral instincts or intuition, and while I would not rely on them in an absolute sense, I think a lot of people don't trust their own internal sense of morality. Examples of this include how easily people are swayed by others' opinion, how people look for arbiters of morality in politics or religion, how people confuse or abuse logic to reach positions that are convenient instead of trusting their own feelings about a thing. And I think the best example of moral intuition is slavery. Many people often appeal to the norms of the time, how we can't judge peoples of the past for their participation in a thing as despicable like slavery. But I think moral intuition absolutely tears that cheap disguise away. And I think people know what they are doing to capture and own another human being. I think they know that's wrong. I think we have internal compasses to some degree or another. And this all, I believe most other people who use this term are using it dishonestly, and I've stolen it from them, but I can use it faithfully and honestly because it is in line with my beliefs that I am God. Fuck you!
Okay.
I'm not.
Richard, do you wanna?
I'm not as familiar with the religious affiliation with the idea of moral intuition.
It's all presuppositionalist bullshit.
Sure. It's not so much that I believe myself to be a god, but I would say that I would prefer to feel that if I were to feel that God exists, I would see myself in that position first of at least controlling what I can do, how I react to things. I am the one who makes the choices about my actions and my deeds. I would rather subscribe to that than the idea that there is there's a God with a will and a plan. That is, I am just a puppet in a piece of form.
Well, first off,
that being said, my choices, my intuition, or my moral
authority.
Yeah, exactly. That is over myself.
Well, first off, that's a wild answer. Second off, I understand what you mean. Third off, I think it all boils down to, can we know what is right and wrong without the world or religion or a belief system telling us? And I believe to some extent, if we're paying attention to our moral intuition, we can.
Sure. Okay. I got a couple questions.
Cool.
One maybe potentially more silly question is, what do you mean by you are your own God? But what we could get back to that. I think where maybe I would like to start is define intuition. Because to me, if I'm going to act, if I'm going to act and I'm going to act on intuition, I'm going to be upset with myself for letting my intuition dictate that action. I want to act not off of intuition. So if I find that I'm acting on intuition, I would be upset with myself for letting intuition take hold.
Because you didn't have enough data?
Well, no, I think my actions need to be describable and defensible.
So the slave master whips his slave in front of you and you say, I didn't have enough data.
What are you talking about? The data would be the person being whipped. That's the data point.
I don't like that. How does that inform your morals? Why is a person hurting another wrong unless you have a reason to believe so? This is outside of moral systems or beliefs. Okay. What is your moral intuition?
We're getting somewhere. So brute facts, right? I just have the brute fact that causing suffering when it's not needed is wrong. And I have no proof for that. That's just a brute fact.
Don't you think that's a bit of an intuition?
No, I don't think it's an intuition because I think I'm going to not say that as law. I'm going to ask my fellow man what they think about that. Do we agree that that's true? And if everyone else in the world says I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
You think if everyone else tells you it's okay that he whipped that dude to death, it's okay?
If literally everyone in the world, including the person who got whipped, says this is the right thing to do, yes, I am wrong.
That's insane, dude. You have no trust of your own feeling? You don't know? You're just going to watch people get whipped to death all around you because everyone else said it's good.
I think the more insane thing is your idea that you could believe that everyone in the world would think that that's okay. I don't think that will happen. I think if I
did not state that was my belief. That was very slick.
Right, okay, but so why I don't trust my intuition is that I think I've asked people this, and they've said, yeah, we don't like when people get whipped. So this.
What if there's no one to fucking ask, bro? There's so many reasons why you could be limited to your intuition.
Moral intuitions only exist because we exist in community. If I'm alone,
no, come on, you're in a room alone.
Hold on.
You were just born, and you're watching this happen.
If I exist on a planet of one, I don't need moral intuitions. I'm just going to do whatever I want. There's no one to affect. If I exist on a planet of two or more, I need to live in community with those people, and we need to build our rules together, despite whatever intuitions I'm born with.
It sounds like you don't trust yourself enough to have moral determinations.
No, I think it sounds like I'm responsible enough not to trust myself and ask my fellow man what they would like.
Sometimes you don't have time to make a counsel.
Yeah, sure. You could make up again, bad cases make bad law. This is like a big law boy thing. Law boy is a lawyer. I follow on Twitter. Not Twitter. That's a garbage website. I listen to his podcast now, but that's his Twitter.
I feel like you listen to Econo Boy too.
We should definitely get into O'Connor later.
I don't want to so much, but I just don't understand why you can't trust your own feelings on a thing. So, at some times, like I said, it's not the absolute, but you can't feel when something's right or wrong ever.
No, I do feel things are right or wrong.
Well, your answer is you wanted to make a council and get a vote. Bro, like you're seeing something bad happen. Do you know if it's right or wrong?
Instinctually. Yeah. If I'm seeing something bad happen on that level, I would stop it for sure.
So that's moral intuition. You agree,
right? But then after we should talk about if that was the right or wrong thing to do, right?
But I'm saying I'm willing to trust that at times.
Okay, sure. I mean, again, like if you want to build these use cases that never come up, by the way, like
come on,
give me an.
I saw a chick get beat downtown last year. And I had to figure out, was it more... I had to decide. I don't want to say what I did on podcast.
Okay, sure. But so I think these extremes... So there's this idea that bad cases make bad law. We don't want to build our intuitions off of these extreme examples, because extreme examples are going to come up, and no one knows what they're going to do. And
that's why you might even have extreme hypotheticals.
Right. You might even have rehearsed them, and you still might not follow through. You know what I mean?
Sure, but that doesn't make it invalid.
Well, I want to talk about the regular cases. I'm not so interested in extreme cases. I'm more interested in the 99 million other times that a regular thing happened that wasn't this extreme.
I feel like we've, tortured this hypothetical to the point where you can't say when you see something that without other information feels wrong to you, that you feel it is wrong too.
Well, okay, so I guess we'll get real granular here. I don't know if the chick getting beat up downtown is right or wrong to anyone else but me. And I might be so overcome with emotion that I will act, but that's just a thing I felt. And like, you can't build a government on a thing I felt, right?
Sure,
so
but are you just going to let her get beat to death?
No, yeah. In these moments, I'm going to feel something so profoundly, I'm going to act. But then when we settle down and we need to make a law, we can't use my intuition on these laws.
How does that discongruent with my original statement?
I would just say, like, these extreme times where you, like, feel these extreme emotions.
Doesn't have to be extreme. I can have mild intuitions too, but they're not my absolute.
Yeah, so those are the times that I would question your intuition more. So I question my intuition. So one of the most fun games my wife and I will play is questioning your intuition on very mild stuff when the stakes are low, and it's very fun. And then you
judging
get
a book
to
by
be
its
made a fool
cover
of yourself when you don't know something. And so if you have the conviction about those intuitions, that's maybe I would have the problem.
I probably would agree. Like, the more mild or stakeless a thing is, the less extreme the intuition should be. But like I said, it's not my absolute. And my intuition can be wrong, but I believe it exists. I don't think we're, like, totally amoral creatures that have never felt right or wrong. And
yeah, I think we probably evolved to feel these things very strongly. I don't think they're based in, like, any other reality than, like, a monkey's evolved feelings.
Maybe, I mean? But I feel like when we go back to my original statement, you have to agree. Yeah. Like, I feel like there's way less of a sunlight between us than you think, or originally stated.
So I guess let me ask you this. What do you mean when you say you're your own god?
Well, that's a different thing, and that is, like, Satanist theory we can get into. But do you want to go there, or do you want to?
Yeah.
Well, are you willing to concede on moral intuition?
No, I
don't want to just hop along without a concession.
I'll restate. I think we all feel these moral intuitions, and we shouldn't trust them, and we should question them.
So,
and when you're in an
you fell into it again. So you watch the person getting whipped to death. You do nothing because you don't want to trust the moral intuition that you did acknowledge you felt.
I was about to say, you cut me off. When we're in these situations where there's no time and you have to act, like, you're just going to act, sure. But I think a lot of your intuition... What?
What are you acting on?
Yeah, you're going to act on that intuition, which is worthy of question after the time constraint is gone. But I think...
Thank you, sir.
He comes on a win.
Here's I think the more interesting place to take this. I would say probably if you grouped up every intuition you've ever had, the vast majority of them are going to be wrong.
Maybe for you.
And so Sure. Yeah. And so I think those are worth questioning and not just knee-jerk reacting.
I'm pretty
now,
spot
when you
on.
boil up this, maybe. When you boil up this extreme hypothetical where there's no time to act, great. But I think that's
not that extreme, bro.
But I think that happens very rarely. The rest of the time you're using your intuition, it's worthy of question, I guess.
I probably agree, but that answer is very different than your first answer. I feel like I earned a concession.
I think you've boiled up a situation where there's no time and you have to act, so all you're left with is intuition. But when there's time and you can think about the thing you're doing, you should reject your intuition until you have proof for why that intuition was correct.
Or maybe you trust it to an extent, but not an absolute, like my original statement.
Sure.
Trust but verify.
I'll take a concession.
But I would take verification over intuition all day. And I think it's your job as a person to verify these intuitions.
You denied it outright initially.
What?
You denied the moral intuition had value at all initially.
No. I think I think everyone has. So actually, we'll boil it down here. I think every person on the planet has already verified the moral intuition you're talking about with evidence, right? So if I'm an alien on the planet and I come to this planet and seeing a person being beat and I don't know what these species are, what's going on, I might not even know that that's cruelty. But throughout my life, if I'm a person, I've already verified that I'm anti-cruelty. So I'm actually not acting on an intuition. Whoa, checkmate! I'm saving the person being whipped not out of intuition, but out of the data I've already collected in my lived experience that whipping is bad. Bitch!
No, that doesn't track at all.
That tracks 100, Richard! Are you with me here?
No.
I've already verified that whipping people is bad. So actually, the only way I know how to
act
and
There are times you don't know.
Wait, let me ask you this.
You already conceded, bro.
No. Let me ask you this. If I didn't know what pain was or what a whip was, how would I know which person to stop? I've already collected the data on pain and whipping, so I know the target of the whip. What if I think the person whipping is the person being hurt in this example?
I don't think it's unfair to say that previous knowledge...
hot, baby!
I don't think it's unfair.
There are no intuition. I'm back!
I think previous knowledge informs intuition, though.
Sure.
I don't think it changes the idea. I don't think that's just based on knowledge. Previous knowledge informs your intuition moving forward.
Absolutely.
Right? It informs
that's data.
how you...
Data informs how you're going to act in the future.
Sure.
We don't have to call it intuition.
Yeah.
We are calling it intuition.
That's just data-driven action, baby. That's just data-driven action. That's not intuition.
If the idea
intuition is acting without data.
Says you.
Is that actually the definition of intuition?
That's not my definition, bro.
Okay, what's your define intuition?
I said gut trust of determining right and wrong.
Okay, how do you develop that gut trust? Is that
a lot of reasons?
Sure.
Either way, you already conceded. You can feel right and wrong sometimes.
What are we doing? Why are you getting so emotional? Whoa,
I like being emotional. I like being emotional.
No, I think. Listen to me. I think we're getting at something.
No, you conceded. Now you don't want to.
Why are we? No one's winning here. There's no winning or losing. We're interlocutors.
It's all about winning and losing.
Okay, that's okay.
Says the winner.
No, that's okay. Yeah, this was the interlocutor discussion. We're both working together at the truth here, right? No one's winning, no one's losing.
I don't feel like we're going to get to a good answer because I feel like we did, and then we backed away from it because we got shot.
No, we're not backing. We're evolving. I'm not backing away. I'm taking everything we've just talked about, and I'm using that to further the idea. I'm not backing away.
Yeah, I think...
No one's backing away here.
I think if...
I called you bitch really loudly. I'm not backing away. I'll say it again.
It feels like that was
more expletive?
It feels like it was
Do I need to call you like a cunt or something?
Feels
what do I need to say? I'm not backing away.
Bitch slinking into the shadows.
No, ask Richard. I've never been closer to the mic and staring at him more intently than I am right now. I am fuck in.
I don't know.
I changed my chair posture like 2 minutes ago.
I don't know why you would be so unwilling to accept this.
I'm not unwilling. I'm more willing than you. I want to keep talking about it. I don't want to end the conversation.
Let me pop in on this for just a second, because I think what we uncovered a second ago is that what we're mostly having a disagreement on here is a language.
Thank you, Richard.
Wittgenstein.
Richard got there.
But we got to that after you already conceded.
There's no again. Why are we tied? No, we got to move on from this, my friend.
I think the idea if we can change the language to words that we both agree to,
we don't need to. He understand the essence, and he agreed.
I actually think Richard's keyed in. I didn't know what you meant by intuition. I thought for me, this is why definitions are so important to agree on beforehand. I thought the definition of intuition was acting without information. So if that's not what you guys are using intuition, that's how I've been using intuition.
That's impossible to act without any information. Right.
Great. Okay, we agree. That's why I thought intuition.
So there are sometimes the information is limited, and you might be limited to the feelings you have.
Yeah, eventually you have to stop the study and you can't collect more data. That's not an intuition.
But you agreed with that point, and I feel like now we're like shirking it.
No, I think you agree with me that intuition isn't real. Sometimes you don't have as much data as other times, but you still have to act.
I don't think that's what Steven said at all.
No. I know, I'm just being cheeky. But so here's...
Just meet me in the middle. Just say you value the data part more, but you do understand that moral intuition does exist to some extent.
I really need... We'll pause here for a second. I really need you to understand. I'm not trying to win or lose. I'm just trying to like talk about a cool, interesting thing with my friends here. So if you're trying to win this...
But you don't want to agree.
No, I do. Again, I do want to agree with you once you understand what I'm saying. I don't think you understand what I'm saying.
I do.
Okay, so okay, then can you restate it back to me? What's my position on intuition?
That you don't think intuition is a real or to be valued thing because there's always data we can rely on. There's always something we know. There's always someone we've conversed with or thought about or know the context of, so we never really have to just rely on how we feel because there's always something that informs us.
Yeah, so I guess let me ask you this. If you see someone being beat, how do you know who's being beat?
I got that correct, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if I walk in on somebody's being beat, like your example downtown, how do I know who's the victim?
You might not. But the intuition may be that you want to spare the harm. That you want the situation to stop.
If I see someone punching someone else, how do I know who's being punched?
Do you really mean like by looking at them?
How do you mean like physically? Like you see it happening,
and you're going to say all these things is enough data that is what's informing you, not how you feel.
I'm not. I promise, I'm not trying to smuggle anything in. That's why we're boiling this down. You know who's being punched because you know what a punch is. That's a data point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now Stephen raised the great point of, well, he doesn't know who started it. You know what I mean? I don't actually know if I'm saving the victim or not.
Yes.
That might be a data point you don't have, which means maybe you shouldn't just shoot one of them. Maybe you should try to break it up, right? Because if you use your intuition and go, oh, guy being punched is victim, shoot puncher. That puncher could have been a victim who just fucking karate chopped it around and is going to leave. And so this is an intuition we need to question, and we need to do... again, we need to get more data if possible. So if it's not possible, obviously you're going to have to act. And you could have been wrong, right? Mm-hmm. You run the risk of being wrong when there's no time to collect more data. But sometimes you have to run the risk of being wrong and act. But again, I would just like to bring in here that I think maybe we all agree there aren't these intuitions. It's just data points. You don't think about it that way, but it's just data points.
I think you're trying to... I don't think you're being honest. You don't think that's what I think.
Let me hop in here.
What, sir? Go ahead.
Let me hop in here.
Yeah.
I don't think that saying that it's data points doesn't disclude the idea of what intuition is. I think the idea of if you're going to say that it's all data points, well, that's everything is data points.
Agree.
Then there comes to a certain point then when there's different language that's used for different scenarios in which if your intuition is a collection of data points based on reaction, then it seems fair to have a word for that.
Okay, so let me ask you this. What do we do when intuitions disagree?
That's the great question of religion, right?
Then we can hash it out, right?
Yeah, that you have to rely on.
Then we collect more data.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, for example, you meet an extremist person who thinks they have the intuition.
Hold on.
Math.
None of this is relevant. All that mattered is when you saw what happened, when you approached the scene, did it inform how you felt to weigh or not? I feel like you have to concede there's some level of intuition there. I'm not saying it's for the millionth time. It's not the end all.
Yes. So I will say I think data is informing how I'm feeling, not intuition. I think I've had data points of...
So you've never felt intuition about a thing ever because it's too extreme to think you ever used intuition.
No.
There was always doubt.
Okay. I think, I don't want to sound too talking down here, but I think you're just not going to get the concept I'm explaining.
You asked me if I understood, and I explained it perfectly, and you agreed to that.
Now I think you don't. Okay. And, let me try.
That's crazy, bro. Again, that's crazy. That's super bad faith. You asked me if I understood. I defined it, and you agreed with my definition.
No one's bad faith here, my friend. There's no stakes.
But you just said very condescendingly that I couldn't understand what you were actually getting at.
No,
but
when
you asked me to define it, I could define it.
So I'll say this. I think that all intuitions, if we want to use that word,
boil down to data and knowledge.
Need data to be created.
I understood that. You
can't just create an intuition out of anything.
Yeah, I understood that.
So I would just argue that what you're saying intuition is just data you've already collected.
It's just kind of wild because I definitely understood that, and you earlier agreed, but then when you thought of like an evolution of your argument, you could not concede.
Well, I'm less interested in the point scoring here. I'm more interested in this idea.
Well, I feel like it's a sign of good faith to acknowledge when the person had a point that you understood.
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah, I think we've both had points. I think you've had points too. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I think the thing I'm talking about is it is an evolution of the thing you've helped me realize. I actually think you have helped me realize this right now in this moment, which is why I got so excited and said bitch.
Sure. I was just asking for a little concession on that. That's all.
Okay, great. Again, sorry, this is what I was talking about.
Now we can interlock and build on it.
My ego has been so earth-shatteringly destroyed that I forget sometimes people need positive encouragement.
No, that's not fair. I didn't need positive reinforcement. I just needed acknowledgement that you.
Well, you felt bad. That's okay. It's okay to feel bad. I needed to acknowledge something you said.
That's crazy.
I'm confused.
I mean, that's also what that sounded like to me, though. Of like, a concession is basically a saying of like, you had a point. To say you had a point, that is a form of positive reinforcement. That's not
how he framed it, though, for sure.
Okay, yeah, I could be bad at framing things for sure.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to get into the positive reinforcement mindset because I'm here to just break shit. I'm here to break ideas.
I thought you wanted to build shit.
An idea. Yeah. You have to break the bad thing to build a new thing. You broke an idea of mine, which made me very excited. I thought intuition wasn't real. I now think intuition is what we call data we've already collected. So we're not just making it up. It's not coming from the gut. That's data. So like, I only know who to stop because I know what a whip is. I know what whipping someone is. I know what pain is. So I know who's experiencing the pain. That's all real data. There's no gut here.
That's
fine,
I mean? But I feel like acknowledging that would have made it easier. And my idea of intuition sounds like we're probably pretty similar, but the extreme hypothetical that I feel like you initially were far more willing to agree is sometimes you might not have nearly enough data and that you still feel a way. And that should be acknowledged as a moral intuition. Not that it's the end all, but that it's a starting point.
I would take umbrage with these instances where we don't have nearly enough data. I think I would need an example of that. I think what you helped me understand is we actually have way more data than we think, and people attribute it to their gut because they want an ego boost, instead of going, oh, wow, I've collected a lot of data in my life to the point where I can actually snap my fingers and act really quickly in a lot of situations because I've collected so much private
data.
I can see that.
Here's the example. You see something as a child, you're 5 years old, and you see someone hit your mom.
Yeah.
And you've never seen someone hit before. You don't know what people being hurt is like. You still feel a way. Like, the data can be very limited, and you still have some intuition. I feel like it's not worth denying that. I agree we can build upon it with more data, but we still know things.
I think that's a great example. I think the only reason you would see hitting your mom as bad and knowing that's bad is because you're old enough to have experienced people being bad to you, and you don't like that.
Come on.
As someone who's raising a 2-year-old right now,
you don't think as a kid... Even animals have moral intuition. Like, you don't think as a kid we can sense another's pain to any extent? You think there's zero reliance we could have on that?
I'll tell you right now, we come out knowing zero. As someone who has raised a baby, babies, like, for the first 6 months of a baby's life, they are just collecting data. They do nothing.
Well, how about at 1 year old?
And you've had a year of data collection. Yeah. Okay. You've learned a lot.
All right.
No, I think raising a baby is crazy. They literally do nothing.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, you can act any way you want to a baby until it affects them. They're not going to fucking know. And actually, they tell you this. When you have the baby, they teach you how to talk to the baby. And so they're like, listen, our ears are sensitive. And so if you're going to talk to your baby, you don't want to be loud because that could hurt their eardrums. Doesn't matter what you're saying. Just say it softly. So literally, they're like, if you want to be like, this fucking guy at my work is a super asshole. He's such a fucking cunt. And you say that in a nice, nurturing way. they just get nurturing from that. You know what I mean?
I understand what you mean. I just feel like there's this type of thinking also engages in like a denial of feelings mattering. Like I'm not like anti all data, especially data that's so like intertwined with our feelings that we can't distinguish it. But I feel like
I think you only have those feelings because of data. You know what I mean?
Know if that's true.
See, I think you're presupposing like a soul or something.
No.
So like, where are you getting these feelings from? I guess would be my question.
Myself. And I think we can go to the I am God
No. If you were born without another person on the planet, you wouldn't know what whipping is.
We wouldn't know. I mean, it's trivial at that point, right?
Well, where are you getting these? I would say like you're not getting these feelings from yourself. You're getting these feelings from the
I mean, if you want to call it data, if you want to call it data to the point of like its evolution, I mean, we can, but it's something internal.
No, I mean literally. Where are you getting the feeling that
our brain synapses, so whatever? I mean,
I don't think so. I think that's learned.
Maybe I don't think so, but
I think it is learned because I think there are people that haven't learned it and are fine abusing people. If everyone had the intuition that abusing someone is wrong,
I didn't say everyone did. But I think
maybe there are people's brains that are hardwired in a way where they can't learn this.
Oh, definitely.
But I think
definitionally, right?
Yeah, I think it is learned. I don't think you're born with empathy. I think it's learned.
We can agree to disagree, I guess.
Sure, that's okay.
Yep.
To be fair, I don't know exactly where I fall on this. Of like, is it the nature versus nurture thing? I think I tend to believe more of nurture over nature, but I also believe I don't know if it's an optimistic belief.
Oh, you're a big nature over nurture.
Sorry,
guy.
Nurture over nature. Okay. Sorry, yeah. But I feel like it may be an optimistic thing for myself. Of I'm trying to think of the exact phrasing we had about it, but like say you were born you in another time, another place, another like your surroundings were all different. Could you at some point in your lifespan find yourself like the person you are now? And it's like, sure, there's a lot of things that are in that I make choices on based on things that have happened in my life, but it's nice I think it's optimistic or at least romantic of an idea to believe that we are.
Well, can I break this down? I think that's beautiful.
Sure.
I think I'm going to take it one step further. You are a product of your environment, and so that gives your environment a certain responsibility on you. Like, let's just get very literal here.
Sure.
If you grew up in Spain, would you speak English? No, you'd learn. No. You could maybe learn English,
but is your language a part of yourself? I mean,
oh, definitely. Oh yeah.
I don't know if I
There's huge data that like you don't experience certain emotions because you don't have the word for that emotion. There's a really good Radiolab episode about how language is so intertwined with your day-to-day lived experience.
I'm familiar, but I don't know if that's the essence of self.
I think I kind of
let me ask you this.
That.
If I didn't grow up and I didn't marry my wife, I'd be very different. It's good that my wife has changed me in ways. I like that.
Sure.
And so just practically, if I married someone else, I'd be someone else. I wouldn't be the person I am today.
Yeah, sure. Well,
that person could also be good. You know what I mean? It's not a winner-take-all situation.
Right. Yeah, I think logically it's again, this is a massive hypothetical and it's hard to piece together. But I think in the idea of infinite lifetimes, infinite, dimensions, whatever. You can come up with the, you can come up with the idea of like,
one life, baby.
If you were born or if you existed in a place outside of what you know, all the surroundings, all the people, all the,
you
time,
couldn't
whatever.
be the person you are today. You couldn't be. You'd have to be someone different.
Maybe not to the exact point degree, but for the idea of your, I was going to say morals. It's not the right word that I'm looking for.
Let me ask you this. It's a sense of self. We've talked about it in the sense of, I can imagine worlds where I'm both the captive in the Holocaust or the Nazi guard, right? But I think some people are soft-cored and some people have like a more hardcore, like internal, where some of us find ourselves in different shapes more easily than others, and parts of us, and some of us have a more internal sense of self. Like our lives might look very differently. We could marry that person or not marry that person, learn that language or not learn, but that some of us gravitate towards our sense of self more easily than others.
Sure. So I think like we all are born with different biological like matter. So that will make you experience the world differently.
Sure.
But I think nurture like profoundly outweighs nature. And here's a good example. I have this on the sheet somewhere, but the idea that like some things are so bad because they have such a profound effect on the person done to them, right? So like rape is an example of something that's so atrocious because it causes deep-seated trauma in the victim.
Sure.
If that didn't happen, like rape just like wouldn't be that bad. If you could get over a rape in 6 hours, like it just wouldn't be the thing that it is.
Right. Of course.
Because it causes an actual changed effect in the victim, now this is like a thing that's serious. You can't take it back because you changed them. So even if you're like sorry, it doesn't matter. That change doesn't go away. And so these are the kind of things that make me lean like profoundly towards nurture.
I think there's an argument in which you can say it's if a thing that's being changed in you is something that is otherwise based in nature, it's a natural response.
Yeah.
You can make the argument that is a nature response than a change affected by nurture.
Well, I think for me, then the whole nature versus nurture is like nature is like you have a soul that's unchanging, right? Like God birthed you with a personality.
What if it's a biology that's unchanging? Like I'm not saying.
Yeah, I think biology is easy to change. Yeah, I think you can change your biology. Now there are some things you can't change for sure.
You think the schizophrenic's brain is easy to rewire?
No, that's an extreme. That's an extreme one. But I think, like for example,
10% of people are mentally ill to some extent, right?
Yeah, but how many are mentally ill to the point where no medication or therapy will help them? I think that's the person you just brought up, right?
Not necessarily. I mean, schizophrenics can get help too. All these things are like spectrums. Yeah. I'm just saying, maybe for
and then if you take a med, you change your biology
to some extent, but not always forever.
Yeah, short acting.
But so I'm not. I don't know if I have a strong opinion over nature versus nurture as being stronger. I don't know how much it matters, but I think maybe for a lot of people, the nurture is more of an effect, but for a smaller subset, the nature is more dominant.
Okay, so here's the risk. To loop this back around to intuitions. If the nature, if what you're born with has a strong effect on you, and I disagree with you, how do I live with you?
I'm sorry.
If
what
you
is
can't
the point
change it,
what is the? What
so
are you
like
addressing?
if you're born with a moral intuition that you can't change, and I disagree with that intuition, what do we do?
I mean, this is like the age-old question, right?
Yeah, that's like War Star, right?
The part
more or less how like if you can't compromise and come to an impasse, then
my God says your God isn't real, right?
Yeah. Well, right. This is why I would champion not trusting our intuitions.
This is a very roundabout. All I was looking to be conceded. I think it's
pretty clean.
All I was
Wait, go ahead, Richard. Richard was about to compliment me. I need a compliment. I'm pulling a Steven.
I think that's a pretty clean reason of why of a good point to
find a medium on.
Steven, you chose an example where we all agree a person being whipped should be stopped. It's more interesting to me when we choose an intuition that we disagree with.
But you're telling,
and then what do you do there?
But all I'm looking for is like the minimal. I don't need you full bought in. I just need. I feel like I'd appreciate knowing that how we feel about a thing is a valid factor. That we can.
I think how you feel about a thing has no. If you're gonna excuse data and say it's just how I feel, I think that has no bearing on the truth. And I think to get me to care, we need to start adding in bearings on truth.
And I'm not opposed to I'm not opposed to data or the truth, but I think sometimes there are, and I don't think they're like as extreme or as rare as maybe you want it to seem, but I think there are times like we may only be left with how we're feeling, at least as a starting point for a moment in time, where like sometimes that moral intuition has to do a lot of work before we know the data or get more to help us.
And I think in the examples you're thinking of, I would argue you already have the data. That would be my concession. I would say what you're thinking of is acting without data. I actually think you probably have a lot of data.
I just feel like there's. I understand what you're saying. I think this is the agree to disagree part, but I feel like there are.
Like I said, I think this is. I think it's less of a disagree than it is just a change of language, right?
I actually think, Stephen, we fully agree here. I think you have certain, like, I think using the word intuition makes you feel good. Like you said, you're your own God. I think those concessions don't do anything for me. They don't move the needle at all. I don't care about feeling right. I'm more interested in nerding out and getting into the data. And I think that's probably where our like.
Yeah, I'm far less interested.
For sure. So you're really interested in like the artistic side of like, I need to feel something, I need to express that. That like does nothing for me.
Well, I feel like how we feel is the ultimate truth more than data. And my example of that earlier was the delusional person. Yeah.
Is that truth? I think that truth becomes very unuseful when we need to collaborate in a society. So how does that truth help me build a bridge? It doesn't. We need like agreed upon facts.
I don't think I disagree with that. But
yeah, so I would say you think the ultimate truth is feeling. I don't. I think the ultimate truth is facts, and I think those are more useful. And I think you rely on those facts every day to like drive your car and walk across bridges.
I'm not discounting data or fact. I feel like you're pushing my opinion to more of an extreme than it is. It's just
you just said it's the ultimate. You just said feelings are the ultimate truth.
Yes, because we can feel a thing is true or not. Like the data ultimately is. It's not like, oh, you gave me 3 data points, and now that I've internalized those data points, that is my new truth I'm working with. Well, you believe the data to be true, and it is your truth because you.
When I feel something's true. Literally, when I feel something is true and I catch myself feeling it's true, the first thing I do is look it up. I mean, that's a great method, but tons of people don't, and it's still their truth. I feel like we're saying this same thing, but we want to ground it on different things. But I feel like I'm willing to acknowledge yours more than you're willing to acknowledge mine. I have a profound allergy to feeling like I'm right. The first thing I want to do is look it up. I like get uncomfortable when I go, oh, wait a second.
But I feel like you're making an assumption that like I'm not willing.
No. I'm just talking about me. I'm not making an assumption on you. When I realize that I thought something and I can't immediately draw on the fact that thing is based on, it makes me really uncomfortable.
I mean, I tend to agree. I want facts to validate my feelings, right? I don't want to believe. So that to me I don't want to feel something that's not true, but people do all the time, right?
So I would phrase this as I am killing my own intuitions by replacing them with facts. How would you phrase it?
And I might say like. I'm not sure, but I might say, hey, that's actually a good thing. But that our moral intuition isn't like completely valueless because of it. Say that again. Just go one more time. I might agree with like killing your intuition through data and facts is a good thing. Test 1 2 3 1 2 3.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, you were cutting out a little bit. Give me one more spin of that.
Yeah, I'm guessing that was just the internet. Test 1 2 3 1 2. I would probably say that killing off your intuition with facts or data, that might be a good thing. I might fully embrace that, but I don't want to discount the feeling as valueless.
Okay, and I do. I am like really into discounting that feeling as valueless.
I feel like there's a lot of times we don't have enough data where it would be hard to trust yourself if you always needed data or feelings. But
I disagree. I think we're quibbling on what counts as data.
Sure.
Yeah, I think I count a lot more things as data than you. So we're back to language. I think we probably actually do like almost fully align on this.
Yeah, very Wittgensteinian for sure.
Sure.
Where speaking of data, we are.
I actually feel like it's only 9:30. My moral intuition says we still have 90 minutes.
Your moral intuition is wrong. You're at my.
How are you going to prove my moral intuition's wrong? Are you going to use a fact we all agree on?
I'm going to use.
I would never use my.
I would never use my moral intuition. It's 9:30.
I would never use my moral intuition.
There's not enough room in this
reckless fashion.
There's only room in this house for one God, and it's me.
No,
it's not yours.
You got out-godded, bro.
So I think we're gonna call it.
Is there anything final, small?
Yeah. I was gonna say final thoughts.
I don't want to bring up anything because I think it will spiral us out. My closing thoughts, I will say, are I'm not going to sleep tonight. I'm so fucking high. Oh, I do have one closing thought. To kind of re-solidify maybe my belief in being an interlocutor. All I've been thinking about since we had that like blowout disagreement where you called me dishonest, Stephen, is I'm now trying to think, what did I do wrong? No, don't laugh. I am like upset with myself for communicating in a way that you were like, you're lying, bro. Because genuinely, I was never trying to be dishonest. And so I'm now going to think about this conversation, and you're going to get a lot. Actually, I have your phone number too, Stephen. You're probably going to get a lot of texts. Well, I will be thinking about this, and
in about a month, you'll be able to hear
in a fun way, not in like a. I'm not going to beat myself up, but in an intellectual way.
No, dude. We're having fun. I think there was a real either misunderstanding or disagreement, but this is like fun, not personal. It's all good.
No, agree. I just think whatever happened to make you think I'm lying, that's what I'm interested in. Because truly, I wasn't lying. So now I'm more caught up in like, why did he think?
I feel like the whole thing was
what came across so obtuse that you were like, he has to be lying.
Well, I think
that's
I gave
crazy.
maybe
I
gave
we
you.
We got there in the end. We got there in the end for sure.
Yeah, but I think maybe what happened is I gave you something that shifted your perspective, but you didn't want to acknowledge it shifted.
Oh,
which is fair.
I thought I did say like you made me think. Maybe that was after. Maybe that was after. Okay. Yeah.
And I could have misunderstood too. I might listen back and think I'm an asshole. So.
No.
It wouldn't be the first time.
It sure would not. I enjoyed
3 pages of notes. We did pretty good.
I enjoyed arguing with you. Super fun. Too. I hope.
I enjoyed talking with you.
I hope you enjoyed both listening and talking with us because it's fun. It's fun to give us stuff to chew on too.
I want to be a repeat guest.
Yeah, next big disagreement, man.
I gotta say, I think I got off pretty scot-free as just being a listener to this podcast for the most part.
You're the first listener.
You took minor damage,
it kind of, it kind of kicked ass. I can't even lie. It was pretty good. I got Jeremy came up and I got to pet him for a little bit. So
he knew.
That was pretty cool.
I gave him a couple pets.
Yeah.
He's a fluffy kitty.
Jeremy's a sweet boy. Steven's very familiar with how wonderful Jeremy is.
What a cool dude. I guess maybe final thoughts. Any like conclusions, or do we just want to end? What are you guys gonna end your night with? What's the rest of the night look like?
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with the conversation. So
I think this was very fun.
Yeah.
I think my waveform looks fucking insane.
Bro.
But it's I think it's in a good way.
Hell yeah. Our audio might be blown the fuck out, but it'll make it way funnier.
Yeah, there was a couple points that I realized post yell, like I heard it back. In my mind's eye, I was like, well, that one is too far.
Yeah, it's cool. My family's still awake anyways. So fine. My mom's probably trying to sleep, but it's fine.
Your mom probably heard this whole side, at least one side.
You know what my biggest regret of the conversation is?
Hit me.
I had a whole... God damn it. What do you call... Fuck. This is stupid. I forget. A sound bar. What is it called where you have a bunch of clips?
Oh, you have
a soundboard.
Ready to go, sound effect.
I had a whole soundboard that I was going to play to demolish you.
Yeah. Oh, man.
But it didn't want to work. I had all kinds of vine booms.
You can edit those in.
Oh, I plan to.
You can just edit those in.
Round 2, bring your soundboard.
Drop the pipes.
Okay, maybe round 2 we should start with Sam Harris is a dumb guy, and anyone who likes him is dumb. But for now,
I'm just curious because I'm not super interested in defending him so much. Is your disagreement on his moral truth grounds, his objective morality?
No, I think I've listened. I used to be pretty big into Sam Harris, and I found myself hating everything he said enough times that I wasn't even interested in hate listening anymore. I found the things he was saying to be so stupid. It's like
on politics.
Ben Shapiro.
You cannot compare the two. That is.
No, my comparison was Ben Shapiro has repeated the same dumb things enough times that it's not interesting anymore.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And so that was Sam Harris for me. I was like, at first I liked him when I was young, and then I was like, oh, I don't think this guy's on base with some stuff. And then he just becomes, you realize he just repeats himself all the time, and he's
had a long career
hearing his own voice.
You got burned out.
But he doesn't listen to people, and he doesn't ever change his opinions. He said the same opinions for like 20 years.
Might not disagree. I just think he served a very important role where like I still hold him in esteem, although like the last couple of years I disagree with him more and more.
Okay, yeah, we'll get into it. Because I think probably similar, but that'll be episode 2.
I mean, we could, but I would rather have a different disagreement because I don't feel too passionate about defending someone else's stuff. But I mean, that's just because I was worried.
I just think a bunch of the things he said are so stupid.
I think he has slip-ups.
Like he's proven himself to be a dumb person.
He's got some hits in the mix. I'm sure.
I think his hits are so obvious though. All his hits are obvious things that other people have said a million times.
Sure.
And his misses are like
some of the misses suck.
crazy.
Some of the misses suck.
Do you know the TSA thing?
Yeah, but I feel like his defenses, his
I do.
vicious attacks on religion are like
Again,
have been
those
very
aren't
important.
Those aren't his attacks. He's
What,
just repeating
Hitchens?
talking points.
You're just going to attribute Sam's attacks
No,
on
not Hitchens. All of Sam Harris's attacks are like things that atheists have been saying for thousands of years.
Everyone said everything before. He puts it elegantly or has weaponized them well, and I value that. That's all.
I think he thinks he created them, though.
I don't know.
And I could be wrong about that, but he just comes across
so.
so arrogant to me. It's crazy.
I think there are times where he has, but I feel like he's
like, let me guess, God's actually evil? Thanks, Sam Harris. There are literally people in the Bible. The Bible has recorded people saying that.
Of course.
So
but
that's how obvious this idea is. It's literally in the Bible that there are humans that think God is evil. Like,
yeah, but I feel like compared to who he's arguing with, I don't know. I feel like I haven't seen him like unhumble that he wouldn't acknowledge that. Sorry, go ahead, Rick.
I just want to say, how proud I am that I'm the one who brought the two of you two together.
You were the circus.
Okay, I liked your pivot. What are you guys
fun.
going to do tonight?
Yeah.
I'm going to go home and play Hades 2.
That's a good call. I need to download
cats and
Ark
dogs?
Raiders.
Fucking good.
Do you have pets?
I have a cat.
You have a cat?
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, I hope
had
your
two
cat.
cats. We tragically had to put one down earlier this year, and it sucks so much.
I hope the living cat cuddles on you and helps you enjoy your games tonight.
Man, here's the ultimate bummer, real gallows humor. Manny and I talk about this a lot. The cat that we had to put down was the really affectionate one, and the cat that's left alive is very sweet, but does not want affection at all. And so she's just at an arm's length.
Let me throw this out there, and I know how it is when you just recently lost a cat.
Yeah.
We got gangs of cats out here
No.
that are absolutely looking for
If
home.
I brought another cat home, I would not be married.
Some of them are very, very
I
affectionate.
would love that nothing more. I've tried to convince my wife.
Ricky's got replacements on hand.
And, no,
Ricky's got to get rid of his stock.
Sleep in.
Can
I move in with you? Because if I bring a cat home, I'll have to.
We do a low-key cat rescue out here, and it's
I'll just come over and pet you.
Dude, there's fucking gangs of cats on a regular. It's a feeding time in the morning. They have a schedule, and they know when we wake up, and they know when we go to bed. They know when dinner time is.
Ask
crazy.
Ricky how many cats are on his property.
20, 30, 40?
Just ask him.
Just inside the domicile at this moment, we have 9.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, now you know who you just podcasted
Mom
with.
has 5 and two foster cats.
Amazing. Incredible.
I'm actually, I want to download Ark Raiders tonight. Because I said I would do it earlier and I forgot to. And then, honestly,
let's get some goop, bro.
Yeah, sure. Steven, what are you doing? Are you shooting any schools, or is that tomorrow?
That's tomorrow. I scheduled one every day of the week, so I'll make up for it.
Yeah, fair.
He's going in there on Sunday. There ain't no kid in there. That's fine.
Click clack.
It's property damage.
Dude. I'm a big proponent of that kind of violence. Yeah, bomb those pipes, baby.
Yeah, I think girlfriend and cat's the plan. Just chilling. But dude, thank you for coming on.
Cool. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. It's fun.
And I want to say thanks again for listening, everybody. If you got through this is going to be a long episode.
Yeah.
Thank you to Approaching Human for the use of his music. You can find his work on SoundCloud at Approaching-Human.
Thanks, John.
Make sure to check out the show page at Trashcats Trashcast on Instagram for news and art from the show. Check out Facebook for the memes.
If you're supported, you can check out my trashy art on Instagram at SkyZXSKYZSX. We got a couple really big episodes on the way. Really appreciate anyone who had the patience to hear us out today, and look forward to talking to you all again soon.
Fuck yeah.
I hope you pet shiny cats daily.
That's going to be all for us today. Stay classy, eat trashy.
Go fast, eat trash.
I don't have a quip.
I know. I was just thinking.
Well, we'll just put this in at the. We'll just put this part in at the very end. It'll be.
That could be my quip.
It's gonna be.
Quip.
Yeah, I thought.
I don't have a quip. Hell yeah. Super fun, fellas.
You gotta write your own quip before next episode.
Okay, I'll have to think about it. So you think the idea of potlucks is bad?
It's not the pot. Who's hosting the potluck, motherfucker?